Welcome to the Soulscape Show, where together we will explore and discover the depth and breadth of your soul for your evolution to higher consciousness. This is a very special show with your host, Gabrielle Spencer, and special guest, Lisa Transcendence Brown. Gabrielle Spencer is known for conscious creation for old souls. She's known as a soul healer, a multidimensional intuitive channel, and channels the golden beings of light and higher vibrational beings in her healing sessions as an inspirational speaker, author, and practical spiritualist who assists you to raise your vibration, to reclaim your inner power, spiritual gifts, and abilities. Gabrielle shares next level spiritual tools, clearings, and activations to unite your heart, mind, spirit, and soul to allow you to awaken and manifest your soul's highest destiny. And our special guest, Lisa Transcendence Brown, is a globally recognized author, transformational and evolutionary code speaker, quantum catalyst, teacher, coach, way shower, guide, new earth, physical ascension, and empowerment guide, assisting others in awakening to remembering fully and living mastery from within. As an embodied ascended master and ancient key code holder for new earth, dedicated and fully in service, she brings forth highest consciousness, wisdom, and knowledge to empower all ready to embrace their own quantum existence now. And today we will be discussing living from multidimensional realities. All right, everyone, thank you. Welcome. This is Gabrielle Spencer and the Soulscape Show. I appreciate you all being here from around the world. It is so exciting to have you here with me and my very special guest, Lisa Transcendence Brown. I've been so fortunate to get to know her on a personal level and have just fallen in love. She is just amazing. Her sparkle is beyond this world, as most of you know. She is well accomplished in what she does, but most importantly, she cares and holds that love and compassion from the higher level to such a degree that, frankly, it just warms your heart, doesn't it? That's, I think, why all these people are here loving on you, because that's what we get. It's like you're just the sweetest energy ever. So I thank you for being here, Lisa. Say hello.
Hey, everybody. Well, and everybody here knows they're loved. And that's the beauty of when we come together. It's like a big old love fest, and it's a reunion of Star Family and Light Family. And it's an exciting time because everybody's been working so hard their whole life, all these years, for the times that we're in. And so that's part of why doing this right now is so important, is to shed more light on things, but from much very different perspectives, and to not only that, accelerate everything with ease. It's all about ease. It's not supposed to be complicated, which was the first thing I put for today. It's not complicated, so it's not. We just have to, everybody's got to be open. And that's probably the most complicated part in the beginning, is being that open. And we have to be completely wide open, which is a lot of people protect themselves against everything that they've waited for. And so it's getting people to really open up. And the way we do it is we live it. We become the proof. We live it. We become the example. We live it. We show how easy it can be. We show how we do this. That's what the way showers do. We show the way. And through our presence and through our vibration, and through our energy, and through sharing all of the knowledge and information and the how-tos and all this kind of stuff. And this is a place where everybody reunites again. It's such a beautiful thing. You reunite as family. And it's not the old distorted version of families. We are Star Family. We are Light Family. We are Soul Family. And we have such a deep connection with each other. It's so beautiful to reconnect with family, and to work together, and to create together, and do all these amazing things that are available to everybody when their heart is wide open and they actually care. And so when we came in, I appreciate the fact you said that I care, because we do. We care on from the depths of the core of our being. And that's where everybody's got to come to. You actually have to care. You can't say I care. You got to show you care in every way. And to the human aspect, a talking human aspect, higher self, soul, all these different aspects. And because to me, the human aspect is the ego. So I'll refer to the human aspect, referring to the ego aspect. Because once we reunify inside of ourselves, and ascend through our consciousness, but we also bring our body through. So there's a lot of confusion because they don't understand how important the body is. The body's got to come too. That's your light body. And so talking about all these things, sharing the knowledge, sharing the information, sharing the light code, sharing the divine intelligence, sharing everything from a place of purity, from a place that we really care, to support humanity. That's why every one of us are here. It is to actually make a difference through the way we live our lives. And when we do, it does make a difference to every person you connect with. And it can be the most beautiful experience that any of us have had, but each one of us have to do it for ourselves. Each one of us have to live this fully. That's the only way that we get to experience this. So now I'll be quiet and here we go. I get on a rampage and I get going and then, okay. So
that's what our show does though. It is it's about sharing. And this is a really important time because of what is happening around the world. And it has occurred to me that, as you said, it is about how we live our lives. And this, in a way, if you want to think of it this way, or another way, I'm sure people have many ways of interpreting it, but I see it as this is our opportunity as wayshowers and beings of light to come together and unify and use our light to move to almost dematerialize what has been created as the reality. And it's not to say we're ignoring it, it's that you use the light to move through it and to move it beyond. Like, I feel like in our existences that we've all shared, we've had this opportunity where we come together and we use our power and our abilities to move through things like this. That's what's happening, or being created and making it seem like it's happening. Do you see what I mean? So
you know me, I'm going to jump on anything.
I want you to jump on it because here's the thing. Personally, like I just saw an email come out from another network, and telling everybody, okay, now we have to have social distance and we have to, I'm beyond the wash hands, I get it. And, boosting my immune system, I get all that. But I feel like as way showers, using our light to move this beyond and to take care of it, because otherwise it spreads fear, which is contrary to what we are holding. So tell me what your thoughts on that.
Well, it's more your energy shifted. It all got personal right then. You went completely into instead. The really important part of this process, when you said that's reality. When you get into multidimensionality, that's not reality.
Okay. Go. I'm listening.
Reality is as you perceive it to be. Reality is as it has nothing to do with what people think it is. Every bit of this is levels of consciousness that we function from. And when you say, you feel like, we can do this. I mean, look how much energy goes into trying to work against something. Look how much energy goes into, yes, you do have to focus your consciousness. Yes, you do have to be fully conscious. But you elevate your consciousness out of that and you observe it and you see what the most appropriate thing is. Instead of getting in it and engaging and being a part of it, you can't do anything from the same level of consciousness.
Right? Exactly.
And so when we have to expand so far beyond everything that is occurring in order to see.
Perfect.
If you're in it, you're not seeing the whole thing.
Okay.
And so when you elevate your consciousness When you connect, the deeper you connect inside, the more expanded you become. The more expanded you become, the less personal everything is. The more expanded you become, the more you have the ability to shift your own consciousness, shift your perception, which shifts your reality. Now, eventually, and then we get into the light body and we get into DNA and how DNA correlates to consciousness and all this kind of stuff. Your physical body is rewriting itself based upon what you believe. Your physical body is rewriting itself based upon what you hold. Your physical body is transmitting your reality out for you. Each person experiences their reality relative to the vibrational frequency they hold.
Right.
We have to break it down into dimensions in order to actually see. And so until each person truly understands how DNA works, there's going to be mass confusion. There's going to be mass chaos. There is going to be, because of it's about degraded DNA, and degraded DNA is how we're unconscious. Our light body repairs our DNA. Our light body restores our consciousness to where when we look out there, we see from such an expansive view and from so many different dimensions. Only certain things occur in a specific dimension. They will never occur in other dimensions. You will never have that experience ever. It means really expanding everything. It means completely surrendering your ego aspect on every level and coming from your heart. Not you, Gabrielle. When I talk,
I know. Yes, I'm with you. But this, I feel, is so important because it's easy to get lost in the cray-cray that's going on.
If you're in your head, it is.
All the stuff that's going around. So yes,
if you're in your head, it is.
I want to hear this. Go ahead.
Here's the key. If you're in your head, it is. It's only easy to get lost if you're in your head.
You now have to laugh. What's my greatest opportunity? It is, I'm that merging of the, that heart mind thing. So this is the part that's that's right. Keeping it in alignment.
I call every person out when they get in their head. I'm like, you're in your head, you're in your head.
Yeah, understood.
You're in your head. But the reason being is you don't do this from your head. None of us do.
Correct.
We do this from the depth of the core of our being, deep. The thing about it is, and what we're watching is the fear-based stuff. Okay. Mm-hmm. And fear, we're in a massive, okay, so this is the year of cosmic alignment. It's a year of many things, okay, but this is the year everything's being brought into alignment. Everything going down is to bring everything into balance, bring everything, restore everything, okay, and fear is what kept everybody docile. Fear is what kept everybody compliant. Fear is what immobilizes. Fear is what makes everybody complacent. Fear is where you have no power, but it's not control. So fear emerges when you can't control things, which is what a lot of people are freaking out about, is because they can't control this anymore. It's out of their control. Well, it's supposed to be. We don't control this. Vibrational alignment isn't something you control. It's something you become. And so literally, when you vibrate at a higher frequency, not higher, lower, the ego game way, I'm higher than you, I'm lower than you. This is not a game we play, okay? This is everybody's equal, okay? There is no hierarchy here. There is, you're either conscious and your heart is open and you are deeply connected on a soul level and you actually truly care and you're willing to do whatever it takes to make a difference here. Or you're deeply asleep, your heart is closed, and you're functioning from a place of separation and fear, which is called unconsciousness. Mm-hmm. And so this whole thing, everything that's going on the planet is a planetary evolution of DNA consciousness. This is such a massive thing. To evolve an entire planet from unconsciousness to full consciousness is not an overnight thing.
Right.
It infects, I'm using words on purpose here, every aspect of our life. But for those who have reconnected, from deep inside and live as pure source consciousness light. We infect and affect all through love. We make a difference through connection, through caring, through stepping up to the plate, through coming through, doing whatever it takes to fulfill our highest purposes here. That's what everybody on this planet will eventually be doing. That's where everybody is getting to, but everybody comes through in their own phases and stages because it's encoded in their DNA. The codons don't get turned on until a certain frequency occurs. And so everybody is doing exactly their role, period. It doesn't matter. It's more not worrying about what everybody else is doing and focusing on what we're doing and being. Because if everybody focuses on what they're doing and being and their own vibrational frequency and holding their highest state of consciousness all the time, your highest state of consciousness is your original state of consciousness. It's fully conscious. We're not unconscious anymore. We don't function from a place of separation or fear. Fear is separation. Fear is 3D. 3D has been dissolving and dismantling for years, is going to continue because 3D isn't the physical like people think. Right. 3D is a level of consciousness where a reality was built on unconsciousness. The 3D realities are collapsing because technically we've looked at everything on a quantum level, they collapsed years ago. Now people are just experiencing the effects of that.
Interesting.
Everything is quantum. It's this now, right now. When we see, for those of us who are gatekeepers and grid keepers and fulfilling different roles here, we are working in conjunction on a cosmic level with Gaia, her consciousness, her DNA, our DNA, Stargate systems that are located inside of our body and link up to all the different Stargate systems. We see everything as it occurs. We get up, we share. For years, I wrote, I shared. Shared the knowledge, shared the knowledge, shared the knowledge. We have to be the crazy people for a really long time. Okay? But what is happening is everything that everybody has said all these years is going to be occurring. Now it's actually occurring, everybody's freaking out. This isn't new. It's all been predetermined. It's all visible through quantum consciousness. It's all visible through your quantum state of consciousness. It's all visible. Everything is visible. There's no surprises. It's kind of cool.
Very cool.
Thing about it is everything quantum is right now. So we see things on a quantum level as it occurs in this now. Everything is coming to be now we've written for years or shared for years, or an article I wrote 2 to 3 years ago will happen today. This is how it works. We have vision to see long before everything happens. And everything everybody is sharing is saying, this is what's coming. This is what's coming. This is what's coming. It was to prepare people. This is what's coming. And so now what's happening, if you will, is the actual, I'm using human words. Now, these are not my words. I don't play in manifestation. That's a human thing. It is the actual manifestation or materialization of the experience that occurred on a quantum level long before. Everything occurs on a quantum level, on a cellular level in each person's DNA. Nothing is as people think it is. And the thing about it is that each person, when you embody your soul, this is soul embodiment. There are versions, in the way I've started explaining it lately, because we have to explain it 1,000 different ways. We're saying the same thing over and over, just a bunch of different ways. Okay. Soul embodiment, fifth dimension, begins when we embody our soul, which means that you become your soul. Your soul isn't somewhere else or this little bitty thing. It's this huge thing that takes over your body. We surrender our body to our soul and let our soul take over, and then we live as a soul. It's about the easiest way I can say it. But your light body is your soul body. It's also how you get to live New Earth as your whole reality.
Say that last piece again.
I don't know.
Yeah, keep going then. We'll listen later.
Hold on. Your light body is your soul body. It's your soul. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's light activating in your body and restructuring on a molecular and a cellular level, how your body functions and works. It breaks down your DNA. It breaks everything down and it reconstructs it according to cosmic codes and star codes and solar codes and all these different codes, light codes. They have different geometrics. Mm-hmm. And it actually restructures everybody's reality. That's the part the human aspect doesn't like. It is continual death and rebirth cycles. It's just that the higher the level of consciousness, the faster the death rebirth is. It's like every nanosecond. When the more human we are, the more ego we have, the more attached we are, the more we hang on. And the more we don't own our own power, the more we give our power away. Whereas returning to higher states of consciousness and bringing your body with you, your body's always going to be going through a reconfiguration process, always going to be going through a retuning process, always going to be going through a lot of things. I wrote a thing yesterday when I was announcing this and said there's no sick in 5 days. There isn't. You don't get sick. There's no illnesses. There's no disease. Because you've gone through your soul purifies your body of everything. It is tuned so finely. You can hear, see, feel everything through, you become the entire quantum field. You become the entire unified field of consciousness. You function from a place of super consciousness then. And the reason I'm saying all this is because this is the evolution of our planet through photonic light, through the embodiment of all of our higher selves, through the embodiment of higher frequency light. That higher frequency light will knock everybody on their butts. It'll knock you out. It'll put you to sleep. We literally sleep to wake up. You literally walk in a lucid dream. None of this conforms to the old ways. None. None of it will occur as people think it's going to occur. Yes, Michelle, I'll talk about 12D in a minute. I see. The biggest thing, Gabrielle, is when you were talking, you went into emotion. Okay.
You know, it's true. There are many emotions in every single thing. One is that here we go, everybody. I get pissed off about it.
I know.
I get really annoyed, okay, because I feel like there is so much garbage going around, and that for people, it is about embodying your light. It is about projecting this light all the time, right?
We don't project, we transmit. There's a difference.
All right. Very well. We transmit our light. We hold the light. Whatever we're doing, we're light beings of light. And it is used however it is meant to be used. But here is the thing. This is the Atlantis aspect of my soul that says, okay, people, we've done this before, and we did not band together well enough. We all were doing our things. Everybody felt like, okay, well, I'm supposed to be doing this over here, and I'm going to go save the whales, and I'm just using this as an example. It's not what's, but everybody had their agenda, let's say, right, for the light. And this, for me, that is why it's personal, because it's like, okay, it doesn't matter what any of us think the outcome should be or what it is we're supposed to be doing. I feel like it is about being the light, the highest aspect of the light, and to basically energetically be band together for that light to be used for the highest and best good, and to move even this reality out of the way for the people who are not awakened but have that potentiality, without having to go through all the yuckier potentials perhaps. But that's really for me the
I'm
issue.
going to come back to you right there.
I see you writing. It's all good.
Yeah,
Lisa, I'm all for it. It's the whole point of the show. It's not about all of us agreeing. I think that's our problem too.
And this
That's
is
right.
what you do. You identify a distortion, you identify a program, and you say, okay, come on, let's talk about this. This is how, in my new community that's about to launch, it's called Evolving Consciousness Together. We do this together. We
Yes.
evolve it. We see it. We say, nope, this is a program. This is this. There's a lot of deprogramming that we have to do. You have to deprogram and reprogram. So keep going, but I'm writing it down because when you said, move this out of the way for others, you just went into imposing on other people's reality. I just need to point that out.
That's fine. All right, then I'm going to move it out of the way for me. How's that? I personally feel like in our ability, all right, let's look at it like this. What if, let's think of it like a chess game. Okay?
I love it. Yeah.
That's right, because you know that there is that practical side, right? So
That's
here's
called linear, by the way.
Sorry?
That's called linear.
Yes, agreed. But here's what I want to say about it, okay? I am not the only one that thinks linearly at times, because I know that for my own self, I will go back and forth, right? Up and down and around and whatever. And yes, I have to bring myself back to center and back into alignment and go, okay, let all this emotion go. Just be in the moment and understand. And I realize that's our goal, okay? But it does not happen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, okay? It just doesn't. I am not there yet, and I'm happy to admit it. I am not there, but I am on my journey, right? And I understand where I am today, and that's all that matters, because it's constantly changing, and that's a good thing. All right. So here's what I want to say, though. So in our current third dimensional existence, which I still live in because I have a house and I have electricity on, I have all those things, okay, that are still part of that third dimensional existence. My thought is, and I understand I'm thinking, so here's my thought on it. Shouldn't we, instead of, it's almost like allowing this darkness to come in and to spread this fear, as beings of light, what are we doing about it? How's that?
Okay. Are you ready?
Okay.
First, you said allowing this darkness to, I'm going to start back. I'm going backwards.
You go ahead.
Okay. Allow this darkness to come in. We have to break down the old perceptions. Darkness isn't coming in. Darkness is inside. That's the duality. That is the separation we hold. Once you know, I'm going to say this just to make a point.
You do that.
I forgot we had a dark and a light side, because once you live as pure source consciousness light, there is no dark.
Okay.
I forgot we had that, but this last year, when I was doing all the 12D template work and having to anchor all the codes and hold the templates and complete on this, it was immense. I had to, for the entire year, that was all my whole life was dedicated to. While I did everything and still managed a bazillion realities, I had to let a lot of stuff go, because that was my only priority. Because we are doing these things in service to support humanity and guide humanity and provide the templates for the new earth realities. Okay. And so it takes every one of us. It's not on just one person or this one or that one. It's on all of us. But the thing about it is we go inside and we find the program, and you resolve and you dissolve the power that it holds. You go inside and you find it, and you resolve, and you return to pure love. You return to the softness. You find the program that keeps calling that forth in your reality. It's inside the body. And so every one of us, we all used to live in duality. That's what 3D is. I'm going to bebop over to the other comment about in my current third dimensional existence, I have a house and a this. Okay, so let me break this down.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how many times I say it. I got to say it a million times, because we're breaking through ego programming. Okay? Like, it takes a lot to break through. It takes a lot to break through to mindsets that are not open to learning a new way. This is about learning a whole new way. We have to re-educate humanity through higher consciousness. And it takes a lot to break through. All that programming is intense.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I'm saying this is because in my current third dimension, I'm repeating what you said, and then I'm going to tell you energetically what you said. Because everything's energetic, okay? Words are energetic, everything's energetic. You said, in my current reality, I live in 3D in my head.
Yeah. I mean, there are times when you are living in 3D reality. I haven't merged it. I mean, when I'm sitting in a traffic jam, am I in 3D? I'm going to go with yes. I mean, am my angels surrounding me? Yes. They keeping me safe? Yes. Am I getting places maybe faster than others with more peace? I think I am. But here's the thing. I'm still in a traffic jam.
But do you want to know what? When I'm in a
I want to know
what. I have a blast. I'm not in 3D.
Okay, so when you're driving your car.
Yeah. Guess what?
Tell me.
I live in a building, in a structure, in a house. I'm not in 3D.
Okay.
In 5D, there's a house. In 12D, there's a house. Okay. It's the level, dimensions are the levels of consciousness we function from. They are not, this is where we got to break through.
Yes.
3D is not the physical reality anymore. That's pre-2012.
Okay.
3D is a level of consciousness that focuses on the physical reality as being the only thing there is. The physical reality dictates. Okay? 3D is a mindset. 3D is a program. 3D is a corrupted database. 3D is everything other than what people think it is.
Okay.
Physical reality is not 3D. That's the first thing we got to get through to people. The physical reality isn't 3D. The mindset is.
Yes.
The reality, the perception, what people believe, that's 3D. 3D is going. 3D is collapsing. 3D is gone. It's been gone. You just have a bunch of people running around trying to hang on to it.
Okay.
There is a 5D reality that is beautiful, an actual experience that everybody gets to live. There is a 6D and a 7D and an 8D and a 9D and 11D. I'm jumping around. And a 12D reality. There are actual physical realities. They are beyond beautiful because they are aligned through unity, consciousness, and love. And there's an entire globe of people out there living this. They don't live in 3D. But Gabrielle, the reason I go in and I do this is because we got to break that down. We cannot keep regurgitating the same stuff. We cannot keep trying to live by the same old mindsets anymore. February brought through new codes. You know what they were? No more. No more. Zero tolerance for unconscious programming. Zero. And they are powerful, and they are the power that come through with these codes right now. And right now I'm listening to a bazillion because they go on inside of your body. I have a whole cosmos going on inside. Here's the thing. The first thing we have to do is shift our mentality. The first thing we have to do is really, really, really open up to all new ways. Look at Corey. 2. No more. That's right. No more.
Okay.
No more is it acceptable to be unconscious on this planet. No more.
Agreed.
Cosmic frequencies, literally, are taking care of all of that. Gaia is taking care of that. These ultra high frequencies that run 24 hours a day that are bombarding 99% of the planet, not really, but I don't know. I don't really care because it's all energetic. But the thing about it is, I'm going to say this to make a point. Of all of those who are completely unaware that there is a light body, right now we are developing all new programs, all new things. We have all these global programs that are going out to support. There's an entire new energetic commerce system, e-commerce, that replaces the old. It is aligned with a 12D template. There is an entire, there's all new everything that replaces the old. Now we have choices. We can either embrace it and support it and be and come together and do it together from love and have an amazing time, or we can go through hell. Those are the choices. Those who understand you don't have to go through hell anymore. You don't. Suffering's a choice. But here's the tricky part. I know. You have to make that decision. You have to be that committed. You have to be open, and you have to be ready, and you have to be willing, and you have to do your part, because New Earth doesn't just come forth and drop in your lap. That's not how it works. New Earth, we're New Earth. When I walk out into my world and I engage with every person, I treat them with the utmost respect. When I show up in my community, I show up as love. I make a difference in every person's life that I touch. Do you want to know why? Because that's why what we're here for. Gabrielle, it has to be a conscious choice, though. It's really easy to say I can't. It's really easy to say something else came up. It really has to be everybody's priority. And because if it's not, then our priorities get shifted for us. It'll become a priority when you got no choices left. Look at the priorities of the planet changing, aren't they?
Yes. Well, I mean, it's definitely shaking a lot of what we thought.
This is called a wake-up call.
Mm-hmm.
This is another, and there are going to be more. And do you know, I'll break things down by dimensions, okay? Because that's how I see. I see multidimensionally. When you live from your heart, not your human heart, that's different. When you live from your universal heart, from your conscious heart, from your highest place of consciousness, which is love. It's very pure, though. There's no agendas. We don't have agendas. We do. We state them up front. This is what we're doing. Want to join me? We're making a difference. Want to come along? We're kicking ass. Come play. And the thing about it is our agendas, they're just not hidden. Our agendas are soul purposes. Okay? We have purposes. We have things to fulfill. We have roles we all agree to fulfill. If I'm living as my ego, I am not fulfilling my highest purpose here. But if I'm living as my highest aspect of me and I'm coming through every time, then I am. And that is what everybody is here for, is to be their light, to live as their light. No compromise, zero. There is zero compromise on a soul level, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no compromise. Do you want to know what's funny is when you live that way, it's really easy. It's not complicated. Everybody in my world knows how we live. Do you want to know when people come here, nobody ever wants to leave? You got to go. You can't stay here forever. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It is the highest frequency. There's sacred geometrics, and there's an entire gridding system, and you walk in and you feel the pure peace. It is the frequency of home as a planet, as a star planet. You feel home. The thing about it is, I created this reality. I hold the grid work for this in place. I'm the one. I am the entire quantum field. This is my reality, and if people want to hang, they're going to hold the highest too. That's what we do for each other. Do you want to know what? The highest is pure love. It's unity. It's beautiful. It's amazing. But everybody's got to do it. Yes, there's coconuts on my New Earth. Hey, Corey. Gabrielle, first thing is to stop associating a house with 3D or a car with 3D. And the first thing is to start looking, everybody, look at your reality and identify. If you are not identifying the vibrational frequency, this is a vibrational existence. It's not linear. And I'm going to make some bold statements right now that I haven't said to a lot of people, okay? Linearity is what kills your body.
Yes. It makes you sick.
Linearity is the density that binds you to 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Ego is how your body dies. The thing about it is it's up to each one of us to identify our ego. and say, oh, I just went selfish. Oh, I just separated off. Oh, I just went unconscious again. Oh, went back to sleep. No, come on. All you have to do is open your heart back up. It is that simple, but everybody's got to do it. If you're not doing it, you can't live it. It does mean you have to be that conscious of yourself 24 hours a day. And I had to laugh when you said, do it 24 hours a day. No, you don't. Full consciousness is 24 hours a day.
Yes, I'm working up to it.
Here's the thing. Things are not 3D. Mentalities and levels of consciousness and the way people live are. Realities that are built on unconscious programming that don't care about humanity. Right now, if you look out there, do you want to know one of the big programs clearing is people are starting to realize that nobody cares about them. They got lost in the mix. That if all the big whatevers you gave your powers away to and all the people in your life, you thought everybody cared, and everybody's finding out nobody cares. And they're hurt and they're angry, but that is a part of the process. Every bit of this is transcending that separation, but you can't transcend it if you can't see it. You can't transcend it if you can't identify it. The first thing is to identify it. Oops, just got in my head again. My heart closed. If you're in your head, your heart is closed.
Yes, true.
Our priority should be in every moment checking to see, is my heart wide open? Am I still connected? Am I treating everybody with the utmost respect and love? Am I coming from my highest place possible? And if I am, my life's going to be really easy. Do you want to know what? The highest possible thing is to put your foot down and say, no more. No. No is required. No more. I will not accept this as my reality. And in the beginning, that was my phrase. I will not accept this. That might be your reality. It's not mine. I don't judge others. I respect where everybody is. You go on, create your own amazing reality. Don't worry about it. Everybody has a different reality. That's the first thing you learn. This is an existence that is compassionate, that is kind, that is generous, that loves no matter what. This is a reality where you can unite anybody and anything, and there are solutions if everybody cares. It is not complicated. You just gotta care. And that's what everybody is starting to realize, is that you have to care. And I don't mean, oh, I care. No, I mean you care from the depth of the core of your being. When you are functioning from a place of compassion, you're not judging others. If you're in judgment, you don't have any compassion. It's one or the other here. You don't put your responsibility on everybody else for the way you behave. That's yours. How do we treat each other? How do we behave? It's called conscious behavior. If every person on this planet lived this way, look at how different. Now, the beauty is, everybody in my life does. I don't ever run into 3D mentalities. I don't run into 3D stuff. It doesn't even come into, because you're literally walking in a different dimension. I walk into the post office like, oh, how's the energy today? Oh, it's awesome. And they're like, oh, she tells it, everybody in my world, it's, hey, beautiful, how you doing? Everybody gets a hug. We support each other. You're gifting people all the time. You're treating you're sharing. It's a completely different reality than an ego-based reality. 3D is an ego-based reality of separation and greed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So now I'm coming back to you. And you said, in my current third dimensional existence. Now look at what you just said to me.
I'm listening.
No, I'm waiting for you. I just said 3D is selfishness and greed. I'm going to take your sentence back to me. In my current third dimensional existence, what did you just tell me?
In my own head, the way I see it is that it hasn't all shifted.
But
or that I don't see it as all shifted. Go ahead.
That's because it has to shift inside.
That's because what?
It has to shift inside.
Okay, then it hasn't shifted all on from the inside.
But that's the thing. This is an inside to outside.
Yes.
This is what's inside. Don't worry about outside. Focus on what's going on in inside. I woke up this morning, walk outside, the whole world's collapsing, everybody else. I don't ever see it. I walk outside. It's beautiful. Pure peace. We get up every day, we work in service to humanity. We get up every day, we develop the programs. We get up every day and we do what's highest aligned for all of humanity because we've all known this time was coming. Okay? There are new programs. There are new systems that take place of the old ones. But here's the key. Everybody's got to be open to them. They can't work by themselves. There's new everything that works for humanity and supports humanity, and every person on this planet matters. Now, you want to know the key? Everybody's got to care. That starts at home.
Yes.
Do you realize there is an entire reality of people all living amazing realities and working together in unity consciousness? And get up every day and support humanity that are not experiencing collapsing realities or going through hell.
I feel from everyday people, this is the biggest challenge because it is not being demonstrated or not to the level that we would like it to be. How's that? And not only that, but I think that the definition of care is also based on the vibration of a person. I mean, what is caring? I mean, that's the interesting part for everybody is what is it that they feel is caring? And it does have to go back to that inner peace within yourself.
It does.
And that your own self-love. And that is where we are doing the most work to help people really develop it from within, right? But in this aspect, I mean, you and I have talked a lot about the whole ego mind thing. Mm-hmm. Because this is that 3D programming. I'm going to just stick with 3D programming. Well, so everybody can talk about their dimensions. The point is,
the program.
It's a program.
Yeah.
But what is fascinating about the program is that even when you may be thinking that you're not doing it, you end up doing it. I mean, you end up sliding backwards. I mean, that's where I think that's the biggest struggle. For me, that's the biggest struggle is having to step back and out of it in order to see, whoops, there it is. Do you see what I mean? Even in teaching, it can come out that way, where it's like, it's ego. Well, I didn't mean it to be ego. I'm just giving you my impression or what it is, my interpretation in the moment. So ego has a very interesting way of showing up even when you think it's not. Do you see what I mean?
I do.
So how do you know you're fully unplugged? I mean, I'm just poking a question, but.
Well, and the thing about it is, okay, so there are many ways to tell. And there are no fixed answers here. That's the thing. You're always going to get a different answer. The human aspect says, well, give me the one answer. There isn't one. There's a bazillion of them. It changes. When the vibration changes, the answer changes. 5D and above is vibrational. Everything is energetic.
Yeah.
And so you're actually literally building a whole new life based upon energetics. Okay? When you say, one, to pay attention to every time you say, I think. I don't think, I feel. I don't think, I'm connected.
I'm with you.
I process data at a ridiculous rate. I process light codes. I process information. I observe. I see. I don't get involved in 3D. I don't play in 3D. I bring 3D into awareness. We look at it. We break it down. It doesn't exist anymore. Here's the thing, is to be so fully present and within yourself that you are actually paying attention to everything that occurs as it occurs. You are so fully present within the moment and the experience with your body and feeling everything that you can tell the difference. To be so fully connected and coming from a very purity of soft, it's beautiful. Okay, we're going through a purification of the planet right now. Okay?
Yes.
Linear is harsh, it's rigid, it's fixed, it's impositional, it's a bully. The higher your level of consciousness, if you will, the more in tune you are, the softer you are, the less you think. The more connected you are, the more it comes from your whole being. It has nothing to do with your head anymore. I don't think. I sit, I observe, I see, I feel, I look at everything from 12,000 directions, and then I make a decision that is the highest consciousness one every time. You are so in tune with everything that you are consciously aware as things occur. And in that moment, this is what full presence does. In that moment, you decide what's highest aligned. In that moment, this isn't a trying to figure it out in advance. This is what's going on right now. Present moment, let it all go. The rest doesn't matter. If it's not right here, right now, it doesn't even exist. It's a figment of your imagination. The thing about it is to understand that this moment is what creates every experience you're going to have from this moment forward. If we're not conscious in this one, we don't get a choice.
Right. Agreed.
In this moment, the way we behave, in this moment, the vibration I hold, in this moment, the level of consciousness I function from is going to dictate my next experience and the one tomorrow and the one the next day, because there is no linear time. It's vibrational. I'm going to experience exactly what I'm putting out right now.
Mm-hmm.
If I drop down into my head, you notice I went down into my head. Does it make sense?
Yes.
If I drop down into my root chakra, I'm going to play chakras, which is the energy center, okay? If I drop down into 3D within myself, I go back and I get in my head, my heart closes. If I would like to experience a fifth dimensional level of consciousness or a much higher dimension reality, then I stop everything right now and say, okay, let me get out of my head. Let me open my heart back up. Let me get in tune. Let me tune to my highest state of consciousness through the love. And what is appropriate right now? What is my highest state? What is pure? It does mean every person has to take that much responsibility for themselves. The thing about it is 3D is a bunch of children that won't take responsibility for anything, and everybody gives their power away. And everybody asks everybody else what to do. What do I do? What you have is everybody exiting 3D. These frequencies are so high, they're disrupting the mind not being able. What you have is a bunch of people having to start to think for themselves, and they're lost. They don't know what to do. They're confused because there's nobody to tell them how to act anymore. There's nobody to tell him. There is. In 3D, you still have that game playing. In 5D, you don't have that anymore. The entire planet is returning to higher consciousness. There is an ascended version of Earth that is all light beings that actually live cohesively and work together as pure love. New Earth is ascended Earth. It's where we all live when we function from our highest state of consciousness here. New Earth is a reality that we get to experience when we hold it ourselves. Embodiment means you're going to hold it. The ego doesn't hold this, it gives up. That's too hard. The ego is playing another game. The ego represents fear. The ego is a bazillion things. It's not just one thing, it's everything. 3D is an entirely ego reality based upon a level of unconsciousness, okay? Every one of us used to live there. Everybody has to make the choice. Which reality do you want to experience? Which one do you want? If you want it, and what's happening is people didn't want it bad enough, and now they're going to want it bad enough because the old one is going to be hell. 3D, when you get into playing games and using metaphors and stuff to describe, 3D represents hell. 5D, you literally return to a Christed state of consciousness. You literally return through the embodiment of higher levels of consciousness and light. You literally, I don't have angels floating around me. I am the angel. In the beginning, I did, because it is a part of the process of tuning into the angelic energies. And what each person is doing is tuning into the angelic energies so that you can actually become an angel here. When I go to the store, I'm called an angel because people recognize me as that, because I buy groceries for everybody. Angelic energy is very soft and kind. When we tune into these energies, we are opening up to an aspect of ourselves that we shut off from, that we forgot. This is a returning to our original state of consciousness. This is through the evolution of our DNA. 3D is degraded DNA. Our DNA was destroyed. 5D, your soul, literally has repaired your DNA. That's why nobody gets sick here. Now, we do live differently. Every time your light body says shut down, you shut down. You listen to your light body. It tells you what to do. When you get up and you've got energy, it's for producing. It's for accomplishing the things for humanity. There are purposes for our energy. We don't waste our energy. We have to be energetically efficient. We have to charge with light, literally. This is a different existence. We live differently. Our priorities are different too. Our house has to support a certain vibration so we can fulfill our roles. And so our priorities are different. The thing about it, Gabrielle, is that humans won't make that choice until there's no other choices left. I went through it too. I had to be forced into this. I kicked and screamed, and I had to go through immense suffering because I wouldn't listen. I had to be on death's door repeatedly and be threatened with the loss of life before it's like, clean your act up, Lisa. I had to go there every time. Star beings, we have the star being in us. We have certain traits, if you will, that a lot of us have to go through a lot of suffering, especially the ones before, because when we came through, there wasn't a whole conscious planet. Nobody had ever done this before. Multidimensionality didn't exist as an actual experience. It was, for a lot of people in the beginning, all multidimensionality starts in our dream state. Well, it evolves from there. It becomes your actual whole life. Your whole life becomes a multidimensional experience.
So as soon as I stop seeing things as separate, then I'm all good.
That sure makes a difference.
It's coming. I'm getting there. It's a process.
It is a process, and it's a continual one.
But that's the fun part. I mean, truthfully, it is the fun part.
It is.
It is realizing, holy shit, I just got to a whole new understanding. To me, that's the fun part. This is like the reward for whatever it is we've been through, and as we continue to grow and to learn and to evolve, and then to get the opportunity to look at it again and then go to the next level, because that's what happens. It just will keep coming back, and then you will respond in a different way each time based on where you are energetically. I understand.
Yay.
I know, right?
I just got to we really got to get out of our head. We really have to pay attention.
Okay. I have to say this, okay? For all the people out there that are thinkers, because I represent those people.
I did too.
Okay, and I feel for them, because this has been my, that's my needle in the haystack right there, is that I have gone through my process, I've come a long way. So there, everybody out there who doesn't know me, know this, I've come a long way. So imagine, because I have I relied very much on my intelligence and my ability to think and to be logical and to plan and plot and achieve and all of those things. And that, while we can say that that's the third dimensional programming, it's not just programming. I mean, we come in with these things. And so then it's about that DNA and the rewiring and the cellular uplifting and all these things that have to happen, right? I mean, it's a little bit of a journey.
Well, and a lot of people, all of us did this, but we all looked at a certain point and said, oh, I woke up then, or I woke up then. No, we didn't. We've been trying to do this our whole life. We were deep asleep and we didn't know it. Nobody knows. The thing about it is when you're deep asleep, you don't know you're deep asleep. You know, and so everybody
you don't know what you don't know.
Right. And so that's why you can't judge anybody, because we all had to go through it. This is the process. When we start actually understanding that this is the process of waking up. But waking up and ascension are not the same process. And humans lump them all in together. And it's not. Waking up is the part where your whole world collapses. Waking up it's the shock of the disillusionment. Waking up is the being shook awake. Waking up is sleeping. To wake up and emerge in a dream space or through a dream space. Waking up is everything other than what we thought it was. Ascension is a deeply sacred part of the journey where everybody goes inward, deep, deep, deep inside, and you stop looking at the outside world for your answers and you connect with your own soul, higher self, and you start getting all your answers inside. Ascension is where you ascend your consciousness and your body, physical body ascension, to return to a fifth dimensional reality that's real. Now, I want to say something, Gabrielle. When you say I feel for them, it's a tricky one. We are supposed to feel fully, but it's not a pity or they're incapable thing.
Good, because I didn't mean it that way at all. But here's the thing. Because I'm one of them, that is where I identify. And it's true. We can all get on me about my words. But here's the thing. That is my reality at the moment. And I recognize it. And it's part of what my process is. But I feel like this is my feeling on this. I do not believe in faking it till you make it. I believe that what is important, it's like going to Alcoholics Anonymous. Half the time, it's just, here's where the issue is. And I realize that this is part of my issue and that I'm being shown whatever it is that needs to be moved through experience, through coming in contact with people, clients, way showers, light workers, whatever. I'm always shown that next piece, and it's all about being able, yes, it is. It's being hit in the head, yes, by the 2x4. We all know how much fun that is. But thankfully, I don't have to go that deep anymore. That part, thank God, is over. The thing is that it's recognizing it when it's in front of you and saying, oh my goodness, it's still right there. There's a piece that I can work on right there, or there's a piece I can let go of, or there's a piece that has to be reconciled, or whatever it is.
This is an entire process of becoming conscious again. We were all unconscious, and it's learning all new ways. It's not an overnight process. It takes observing each day. It takes paying attention to the words we use, everything that we claim. This isn't a fake it till you make it thing, like a lot of people think. But the tricky part is that when you are awakening through the unknown, and that's what the human aspect fears, is the unknown. They don't know that the unknown is amazing.
Right.
Okay. When you're awakening to and through the perceived unknown, it's not unknown. It's just not known to the human ego aspect. The human ego aspect cannot see. It can't hear. It doesn't have access. We actually live in a holographic reality where everything's visible, and then it turns into a morphogenic experience, which is way beyond cool. When we open up access to all of these things again, to live in a cohesive, unified consciousness, living, breathing field, that everything is interactive, it's beyond beautiful. But we cannot do that through our head. Our head is the disconnect. And so it's just important to understand that while, yes, every one of us, I was completely linear. I lived in my head. I was completely shut down, and I had no clue any of this existed. Okay? This is not the path I would have taken if you had given me a choice as a human. None of this was foreseeable for me. I was completely deep asleep. Okay? Those are the harsh awakenings, though. The deeper asleep we were, the harsher it is. Unless each one of us can actually say and mean it with every breath that we're ready to surrender the fight. We're ready to surrender the struggle. We don't have to struggle and fight inside anymore, but we do have, the ego is the part that we have to surrender to our own highest aspects of ourselves, to our highest levels of consciousness, to the most amazing realities that are available for everybody. Nobody is left out. How we get left out is that we're not willing to go there. We're not willing to do the work. We're not willing to, and I'm talking about on an ego level. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so pay attention to every time you say but. In my book I sent you, did I send you books?
Yes.
There's a section that says, but is no to your universe.
Good.
Because we all have the answers. We do already all know. We have to go inside to find them. We have to sit and listen. We have to open our heart in order to receive all the knowledge. It's divine intelligence that comes through us, though. It's so far beyond human intelligence ever was. Our human intelligence becomes our ignorance. And so divine intelligence replaces human intelligence, which doesn't have a clue.
Right.
And so this whole journey, it is learning everything all new. And our ego aspect doesn't want to accept that they got to learn anything. It's like, no, I know everything. Well, you can't tell the ego aspect anything. That's why we don't even bother. We just wait. You know, years ago, you get to see, if you will just wait, everybody's reality will align itself for them. We don't actually have to do anything. We just have to teach and be there and guide and assist and share and show the way and trust and know that everybody is experiencing the reality exactly as it is encoded by them on a soul level in their own DNA. Every experience is predetermined. Everything is occurring exactly as it needs to be. The question then becomes, what is your highest role here? Do you trust? How can you make a difference? Is it by going back and playing in the unconscious game? Or is it by holding your highest state of consciousness and inviting everybody to join you? For those who have remembered, it's a remembered state. You remember everything. But it is through this divine pure connection inside of us where we are deeply connected with, we live from a state of oneness in every aspect of our life. Oneness isn't a word. Oneness is an experience and a presence and a remembrance that we are all family, that we're all star family, that we're all light family, that we love each other, but we all have to live that here. And where we get into tricky situations, if you will, is if there's 1 ounce of ego involved, that person doesn't yet. The ego is the separation that keeps everybody from having the most amazing everything as an actual experience here. That is our separation. So what we do is we see it, we understand it, but we dissolve it and say, no, that's not my reality anymore. And you actually shift inside to a much higher state of consciousness. Open your heart all of the way and surrender every bit of ego you got. Now, there is a part of the process when we're coming through the fourth dimension where you're standing up and saying no a lot, and you're creating boundaries because you've never had any. You're starting to take care of yourself and love yourself, and you never did. That's a reversing of polarity. That's a different part of the journey. Okay? We all have to completely love ourselves again. We have to love ourselves so much, not an ego infatuation love.
Right.
A love that is so pure that we see our value, we see how important we are, we see how important every person is, that we won't compromise what we need. We don't run around saving. We don't save it. If you'll notice, those who are doing this, we're not saving anybody. You're not in the distortion of a Christed consciousness, the savior complex. There's distortions of every consciousness. God consciousness has distortions too. All of these have distortions that people play out until they resolve all that stuff inside. The beauty is we all have the capability to make a much bigger difference here by holding ourselves as pure source consciousness light, by living that fully and not compromising on that anymore. And so by doing that, your perception of everything changes. By doing that, how you view things will change. By doing this, you will actually see that everybody is capable. They just don't choose. Everybody is capable. They just won't open.
But they will. But they will.
But that's why I'm saying it this way, is that we all ran around for a real long time thinking everybody was incapable. Let's all save them, try to change them. Let's try to force it down their throat. That's not the way this is done.
Oh, of course not.
I know, but there are a lot of people still trying to change everybody. And that's not how this is.
My God, my work is hard enough on myself. But I mean, I think that this is important. I agree that what you've just said is very important. I mean, part of this whole discussion is really just about seeing where you are and moving from there to the next piece. I mean, not holding on to it. For me, I realize I still have that ego side, that ego mind that is still butts its head. I get that. But here's the thing that's different for me from where I was last week, is that I don't feel like I'm fighting it. And that's very big, right? Where you just actually realize, and I can feel the difference. And that's a good thing. I realize that, and I've long thought that when the mind or the ego thinks that you're on the hunt for it, you're trying to change things or what have you, it only makes the ego more insidious and more difficult to deal with. So it has to come through the heart, where it is not about obliterating the ego. My feeling has always been it's about bringing everything into alignment.
Well, it's about recognizing it so that you have
yes.
And so it's not that you don't have an ego anymore. We all still have an ego.
That's right.
That it doesn't run the show. The only, when my ego comes up, I'm like, okay, stop. I'll stop everything. I'll look at myself. I'm like, oh, I've got an emotion going on. Anytime you have an emotion that isn't just pure ooey gooey love and beautiful and amazing and pure peace and literal bliss and heaven frequencies, then it's an ego program. And so, I have certain things that occur in my life, and every time it happens, here comes my ego. Okay, fine. And the difference is I don't project my ego onto other people. I also don't let it have the power. I sit, I look at my little ego. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to need to feel this for a moment. We have to feel everything. The only difference is that once we've cleared out the majority or the vastness, if you will, of the separation programming that we once held, we don't function from that place anymore. But it doesn't mean that something's not going to happen and you go, oh, there's my ego. You just don't have the emotional responses. You're
right.
not projecting, you're not blaming anybody else, you're not getting caught up on anything anymore. it's like, oh, I need to clear this program. And the moment that I clear the program, the emotion, clear the emotion, let it go. You give it as much time as it needs. The big ones take a while. Okay. But what happens is that as you hold yourself to your highest state, your ego merges and dissolves inside, and you become one and whole within yourself. And the ego just doesn't have the power. It doesn't control. It doesn't even rear its little ugly head very much anymore. You're not even getting triggered by people just because there's no charge, there's no hurt, there's none of that stuff. You're not giving your power away, so there's nothing to get hurt by anymore. That was one of the most beautiful parts of this experience. Is was when I stopped giving my power away and I took it back. I started owning my own energy, and I own it, and started making my own decisions from my highest place of what I was going to allow my reality. Things stop. When you stop allowing them, they stop. It's that simple. And go ahead, sweetheart.
It is simple. I feel this is a very important topic.
It is.
Because as we journey through this into that higher dimensional aspect of ourselves and merging all of ourself, this is the holdout piece for a lot of people. And it's very hard for them to see it or to merge with it and move with it as part of you versus separate. Right. Because that's how the ego is. It is separate. And so just recognizing that it still has its separation, because that's its power. Yeah. Is to kind of almost be like I'm the ruler over here, and the rest of you is just my servant to do what I say. But you can see what I mean? It's not about being separate anymore. It is about bringing it all together.
It's not about battling your ego. It's about understanding.
That's right. That's what I said. No more battling. For me, that was the biggest for myself when I realized that piece. Then I knew that I was on the right track. Like, okay, this is how you bring it together. But you first have to open your heart, and you have to get the heart moving and open and expanding in order for that to even make that transition. Because the ego is not going to just give up its power because you just say so. Like, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. If you have nothing, if you don't have the heart piece already in process, then that is going to be a very hard transition to make.
Well, but here's the thing, is that everything is, I'm going to use the word designed to open our heart. This whole thing is about getting our heart open. The whole thing is.
Yes.
And so we can either proactively do whatever supports and assists. We can proactively choose consciously to implement the things in our lives and apply. So this is about applying. At first, we apply new practices and all that kind of stuff because you're establishing a new way. But after a while, you're not practicing anymore. It just becomes your new way.
Right.
So, but we do have to implement for a while a new practice because you're overriding the programming of before. You do have to shift your priorities and say, this is important. When I started understanding that way back, when I would wake up in the morning, I wouldn't let myself get out of bed until I got myself to a certain place. I would talk to my universe, but you're doing it as your ego aspect, and you're opening up. And so I would not allow myself to do certain things unless I was fully connected first. Once I made that my one thing, that was the most important thing, then it actually got a lot easier because I maintain, this is about maintaining that connection all the time. And so a lot of people say, I can't maintain and sustain. Well, that's because your heart closed. That's because it's not a priority. When it was time for my light body to basically merge, if you will, when it was time for my soul to merge with my whole body, my universe is our universe tells our ego what to do. You're basically surrendering to be guided by your higher self. And it's like your light body comes first now. And it started telling me how I was going to spend my money and how I had to buy this and I had to start paying for this and I had to get my vibration up. And I'm sitting here going, I don't have enough money. It's like, it doesn't matter. You don't get a choice. This is the only priority you have. What I didn't understand is that by listening and honoring and getting my vibration, my physical body's vibration up, this is physical body embodiment, physical body ascension. It's not expand your consciousness and then go back unconscious again.
Right.
Okay. And so, but first the consciousness comes and then through the application of the information and the higher consciousness knowledge and through the wisdom and through the visions and through everything that you have access to, as you shift everything in your life, as you start making the changes that are necessary, as we get our vibration up, as we cleanse our body, as we do these things that support our light body, our life gets easier. Everything's so much easier. We complicated it all. Our ego, our separation was the whole thing. Being in our head was the whole thing before. And so, you know, for a long time, my universe was like, get out in nature. I'm like, I don't have time. Well, fine. Here, let's change your life so you don't have a choice. Do this. I don't have, you know, I kept making excuses. And so these are where the adjustments come in. Every time I made an excuse and wouldn't listen, something devastating happened in my world.
Yes.
And it was like, now, do we have your attention? Now you're going to listen? And if I didn't, then it got rougher and then it got harsher. And then I started understanding, wow, if I just listen, I don't have to do, I don't have to go through that anymore.
That's right.
It really
you get way better at listening. Yes. And doing what you hear.
Yes.
I mean, but actually it gets to be fun. Because in the beginning, it generally goes against what your ego would want. And that's why it's hard.
That's polarity. They're polar opposites for a long time. But even when you merge everything into unity, there's no polarity in that anymore. Even polarity changes and stuff. And so how every dimension of consciousness, how everything looks and plays out and feels is different than the previous dimension was. Everything becomes much more vast. You gain much more knowledge. There are no questions anymore. You're not seeking anything, and everything's being brought to you based upon your vibrational frequency. You just have to hold the highest vibration all the time, and it comes easy. But the tricky part is you have to do it with your whole being, with every ounce of you. It's your whole vibration with your whole body, not just a little part. It's also our whole life. It's not this is a part of this, but this isn't. It's not like this is my business and this is my home life. They all become the same thing. You don't separate, your lives aren't separate. Sleep changes. Your whole, the biorhythms of your body change everything. Your whole life becomes about energy, literally, because consciousness is energy and it's in form, and you have this form, and your whole everything changes. The more light you embody, the more everything changes. Well, the ego aspect doesn't like change. And so we basically have to stop fighting the process. We basically have to choose. And the beauty of this is the moment that we surrender and say, I choose. I want the easy one. I want no struggle. It doesn't mean that there's a misperception that easy means you're not going to have to do anything. That's not true. We work. I can run circles around people. I literally work 7 days a week. I have for years. I don't take days off because it's not linear. I take all the time I need for me to upgrade. Every time gatekeeper rolls open, every time I got to bring through codes, every time I need to anchor in my body, that comes first. When the process is complete, if it takes me 3-4 days, if it takes me 2 hours, doesn't matter how long it takes, because when the process completes, then everything synchronizes and everything increases and gateways open and all the new realities just drop in. It's so cool at how easy this can be if everybody would just open up and allow. If everybody would actually embrace and truly, truly, truly open their heart to what they came here to live and be and do, which is simple. It's not complicated. There wouldn't be as much suffering. There wouldn't be as many challenges. All of those things are a result of the ego and 3D levels of consciousness. This is about unity. This is about working together. This is about having each other's back. This is about looking out for each other. This is about taking care of yourself, doing what you need. You're not compromising, and you're not doing without anymore. There's zero lack involved. But you're also not giving your power away. This is a reclaiming of all aspects of you. It's take the blinders off, really see. 3D is an addiction, it's drama, it's chaos. Choose to exit 3D. Say no, that's not going to be where I live anymore. But it does mean making a choice. And the ego aspect of us, our 3D aspect, won't make that choice. It wants to hold on to the old ways. You know, I had somebody the other day waiting for things to return to the old ways. I'm like, that ain't gonna happen. We're not going back.
Right.
And they're like, well, I'm waiting for this to recover. It's not going to recover. You can forget it. When you have access through cosmic consciousness and through your DNA, and you can see everything before it ever happens, you already know everything's going to happen. By the time it shows up, you're functioning from a quantum state of consciousness. And by the time it shows up, you've been working for it. It's like, cool, it's here. Quantum is instant. It's this now. When you function from 0 point consciousness, everything's occurring right now. There is no time. There is no separation. Everything is this now. It's all vibrational. The tricky part for the more linear we are, the less vibrational everything is. And so one will contradict the other. Now, once we get into really high quantum states of consciousness, everything becomes a geometric. And we actually move into, I have what I call quantum linear. That's different. I can function from my quantum state of consciousness 24 hours a day. That's where I live. I can see linear, but I reconstruct everything through geometrics. You can fit into linear, but it's not a constraint. But linear for humans is a fixed rule. For us, it's an awareness that it exists, but we're not bound by the linearity of anything. Does that make sense?
I get we are not bound by linearity. You can see the linearity because that's when it shows up in whatever. But there are many possibilities. And isn't that the quantum? I mean, there are many things that are happening all at once.
Infinite.
Let's just say 3 weeks ago, I had a knowing, right? And I just was like, okay, I know this is going to happen, what have you. And I forgot about it because, didn't need any assistance, whatever. And you know what? It happened yesterday. And I had to laugh. And I was like, wow, so it took 3 weeks for that to just work its way in, but the knowing was there. And so I totally get what you're saying, that this is how it happens, but you also don't waste any energy or time or any worry about it because it just is. And so that's the freedom part.
Well, and when you get into actually having access to see, you're actually working from all these other dimensions, and you're doing everything so that everything will materialize into form in the actual reality. So you're working, we call it reverse engineering. You're working backwards, if you will. We're working from source point of where all the dimensions of realities already exist, and then we're bringing them here. We don't work from the physical reality. We work from the quantum reality, if you will, with all possibilities, all potentials, everything that's available. We see everything. It's like, okay, bring me this one, bring me that one, bring me this one, bring this one will support. Everything supports humanity, though. It's not a selfish thing. Everything we do supports our ability to fulfill roles. Everything we do is in service as light. Everything is. And because it is, it's easy. Because it is, it comes. And so when you gain access, as each person gains access through their own higher states of consciousness, and it's done in many ways. You hear, see, feel. So instead of thinking, you hear, see, feel. So when people will say to me, I think, I'll stop them and go, don't think. Tell me what you feel. What do you see? If you replace seeing with thinking, it makes you actually connect. What do you see? Well, somebody says, I can't see. Then what do you feel? Because at first, your seeing comes through your feeling. It's completely different than the old ways of before, if you will. Eventually, you gain a capacity for everything is in your field is your creation. Everything in your field is your level of consciousness. Everything in your field supports your reality, but you're responsible for what you allow in your field. Everything you allow in your field then affects your reality. And so you understand how important it is to maintain a certain vibratory rate, and it's an atomic spin rate. So when I get into all this other stuff, I'm not talking about the ego games of vibrations. Okay, I'm talking about an actual atomic spin rate on a cellular level and how fast your field spins. So like in the early days when people would come into my field, they'd fall asleep. Still happens. They can't stay awake. I would do sessions, people would fall asleep because the vibrational frequency is so high. Now the planet is so high. And so a lot of what's happening on the planet is that people are trying to hold on to the old ways and they're not open to the new ways. And basically what happens is the reality is being aligned for them. And the old ways won't work anymore. They're gone. New Earth is all new, everything. It looks nothing like the old, but New Earth is a vibrational frequency. It's also a reality that matches that vibrational frequency. It's a level of consciousness that we function from. And so for me, New Earth was in 2012 and 2013. When I came through and I ascended, the New Earth was my reality. And I'm running around and playing on New Earth and having a blast and saying, okay, people, New Earth is here. That's because it was the vibration I had achieved. And you literally are, it's more colorful, it's more vibrant and it got really cool because until I start understanding how the actual realities worked, then I would take, if my left brain was still involved and my right brain was, because our brains are actually, they actually go through a fusing process of opening up our neural pathway. And before that, our brains are separated. We have separate hemispheres of the brain. Well, part of people's headaches is the neural pathways opening up, the pineal gland opening up, and so that they actually have access. And what happens is your brain, left hand, right side of your brain will open up your universal corridor to universal consciousness, and light will actually zoom back and forth. And you can actually read light codes. It's really cool. It's nothing like the old ways were before. What you gain access to gives you the ability to completely recreate and bring all new realities through. It gives you the ability to align your reality vibrationally where things are simple. And so this whole thing, yes, is done through your heart. It has to be wide open for this to occur. If there's one protection mechanism, if there's one fear, that's why the planet's clearing fear right now. Fear is our disempowered state. It's got to go. But none of us knew there was that much fear inside. And so 3D is going through a massive fear cleansing for many purposes. Is driving a lot of people inside. The thing about it is it can be an amazing thing. You can see all the opportunities that this is creating. You can see where this is bringing unity. And if people expand and actually look, you can see all kinds of things that aren't just the fear-based things that the human aspect focuses on. That's just believe it or not, it's the smallest part of the whole thing.
Okay.
Be quiet.
Now, if I can find the people who've raised their hands, it's telling me 2 people have raised their hands, but I cannot find them. And there we go. All right. So let's allow them to talk. You ready?
I will say this. If anybody asks me anything about something externally, I'm going to point you inside. Hey, Alice. Oh,
wait.
Alice.
I'm not sure, Alice. I think you have to unmute yourself, my dear. see if that works, because I've hit unmute. That's what I love about the Zoom. It's like sometimes it seems to.
Alice has been around for years. She's been beautiful and has done.
There she goes. She's unmuted. Go ahead, Alice.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Lisa. I'm so happy to hear you tonight.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm in bed. I'm not putting the video on because I'm in bed. It must be something like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
But I'm really having a blast, you know, hearing you sharing all this, and I'm so happy about it that I think I'm going to translate this video if I have the authorization, because it really needs to be shared with French-speaking people, French community. Really, really.
Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate all you've done through the years. Alice has been one that's translated anything she sees that speaks to her and resonates that she knows will make a difference. And that's part of what everybody does out there, is they realize that they have the ability to make a difference, and everybody joins together. And Alice is one of those that anything that she knows will make a difference, she takes it, she translates it in French. And she's dedicated a lot. So I love Alice, and I appreciate Alice for everything, and a lot of other translators out there. That's how we reach globally, is through each person fulfilling service roles through love. And so, Alice, thank you, my love.
Well, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Oh, you're so sweet. Did you have something else you wanted to share?
Oh no, it was just, I just wanted to thank you. You know, everything is fine on my side. I think I'm living already on, you know, some kind of universe. I have no idea of what dimension exactly, but it's just paradise that I'm building here, and preparing for another way of living, you know, living with community, with sharing with others, and in a totally different, with totally different values, let's say, economical values and everything. So I'm really, really excited.
Well, we've got a lot of new stuff coming out that's going to support. We got a bunch of global programs that support. We got scientific, we've got the medical community, we've got an entire 12DE energetic commerce system, and we're going to be launching all that and teaching it to support people. And so all the translators that want to do that for their area, we're going to be working with all of them. We've been working on it for a lot of the stuff we've been working on for years. And so this one came through. I had to complete all the 12D templates so that I could actually put all this stuff together. So we've been working on it diligently, and we're supposed to launch this month. So we're making it available to everybody. So that'll be another thing that will really make a difference, Alice. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alice. All right, we're moving to Megan.
Yeah.
Let's see. There, she's unmuted. Or I think she's unmuted. Go ahead, Megan.
Hi, Miss Megan.
Hi. Oh my gosh. I'm so nervous. I feel my heart beating so fast just connecting with you guys. And I just wanted to say the part that you mentioned about coming into service. I just feel that so strongly. And I'm just feeling emotional because coming into service and just really leaving behind what other people are going to think, and kind of just really following with everything that's wanting to come through, and seeing you guys doing it has really helped me know that I'm not, you know, I'm not crazy.
Girl.
Yeah, so I just want to
just embrace crazy. It's actually way more fun.
And that used to be my was embrace crazy. In the beginning, I'm like, do I really have to do this? I'm gonna look crazy. And my higher self talking to my ego was like, you don't get a choice. You agreed to do this. You're gonna have to be okay with being the crazy one. And I did. And it's like, okay, embrace crazy. So Megan, that's for you too, sweetheart.
See, I wasn't worried about being crazy. I was more worried about being persecuted. So everybody has their story for what it is and why they don't want to come out and speak what's in their heart or what's coming to them. So just do it.
Megan, there's my universe said there are 1 million people, and it ends up being more than that. But in the beginning, we're looking at, there are 1 million people out there waiting to hear from you, Megan. There's an entire planet of people waiting for what you have to share. And when you realize how important what we do is, when you realize how everything that you do as love, a lot of people don't understand light is love.
Yeah.
And so everything you do as light, you are doing as love. Everything you do as love makes a difference. It doesn't matter if you see how. Don't worry about it. Just do what's in your heart. Do what comes from your purest place. Do what inspires you, because what I started noticing in the early days was every time I inspired somebody else, I was inspired.
Right.
And it feeds that energy, and then you get up each day and you're excited, and this is good. And you know, it really, we do a lot of work. People don't know how much we work. People don't know how much we've dedicated our entire existence to this. But the beauty is, what, sweetheart?
The entire existence. And it's like the infinity loop, because like the ego was, oh, I can only give so much because our energy is separate. But when you unify, what feeds others feeds you, because it's all the same thing that you're feeding.
You literally are feeding into and transmitting into a unified field of consciousness, so that when and as everybody is ready to connect, they will receive exactly as they need to. Yours is going to be letting go of your own judgment. It's not their judgment, it's yours.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't prejudge and minimize and be the brightest light that you can. And just know, when we work on a quantum level, you don't worry about all the who, what, whys, hows, whens. You get up, you do what's highest aligned, you let it go, you do the next thing. You do the next highest aligned thing. You do what brings you joy, because if it brings you joy, it's going to bring joy to others. And, you know, it really is so beautiful and so inspiring to know that when you touch the heart of somebody, there is nothing more beautiful than that. And to have a life that you do that with every exchange, it's just beyond beautiful. There are no words. So I do want to say this about service, because there's this misperceptions of what people have to do. Being in service, you are being light. You are being your purest and highest aspect of you. Anything that comes out of that is an addition to that. It's more capabilities to do more. And the more you hold your light and just be this very pure, beautiful light in everything that you do, it doesn't matter what you do. Human ego gets hung up on, what am I supposed to do? It doesn't matter what you do. What matters is that you do, is that you hold it and you be it and you transmit it out. And you allow everybody to receive that beautiful energy. That energy is what touches. They will feel you. And the rest of it is a bonus. All like me getting up and doing courses and doing programs, that's just, we gain the capability to produce and do more. We gain the capability to provide more. The more light we hold, the more we can do. So you just allow yourself the beautiful experience, and don't prejudge and shortchange yourself from the beauty that's available when you're living your highest. Okay, sweetie?
Thank you so much. This is so sacred, and it feels like a reunification of soul family, like you guys said at the beginning. And I love how you said, you know, the angels aren't around us. Like you are that angel. And I had gotten that guidance that just be the angel, like just be. You don't need to have this, you know, calling in the archangels and the separate, you know, it's all one.
We did in the beginning because we didn't hold the vibration before. And so we did in the beginning because we didn't trust. We did in the beginning because we were open enough, and everybody will. It's just a part of the process. But we do get to a certain point that you wake up one day and you realize, I'm the angel. Yeah. And it's beautiful because other people, every time somebody looks at me and says, you're an angel, I just giggle. Yeah. You know, and you go to the store and they're like, oh, she's the angel of our stars. She's always buying people groceries. And you just giggle.
Yeah.
And you know, our angel energy is very pure. It's very loving. It's very kind. And so when we live as an angel, we're very kind. We're very generous.
Yeah.
We care. And it's not an over caring or a trying caring. It's not a lack caring. It's a caring that's pure, that doesn't need anything.
Yeah.
doesn't expect anything, doesn't want anything. It's a transmission of light, and it's an energy that you hold, that we all hold here. And that's what's most important, is to hold. That's the embodiment process, is to hold that, to live that, to be that with your every breath. And don't worry about everybody else, because what's going to happen is you're going to start bringing them along with you. They're going to see the difference in you. They're going to see the magic and the beauty, and they're going to be going, but I want that too. That's how you make a difference, is you show people how, by you living it yourself. And you don't know how many people I've left behind because they didn't want this, but they will when they're ready. And at that time, it'll be that time. What we don't understand, you're not leaving people behind. You're leaving a mentality. You're leaving a closed mind. You're leaving a closed heart. What you're leaving is the struggle and the fight. What you're doing is going on to live your most amazing everything and inviting everybody else to join you and have this amazing reality too. That's really what this is about. And it's so cool. You just can't describe it. So you go, Megan.
Thank
you. Girl.
All right.
Thank
you, Megan.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I love that. Who we got next?
We're going to bring on, I think, Lori.
Hi, Miss Lori.
Hello.
Yes. There she is.
Hello.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out how to put my video on, but apparently it's not liking that right now. So I will stay as this. First of all, Lisa, I've been listening to you for so many years, and I can't say thank you enough for putting language to feelings as I have awoken and started to find my way. And I think what resonates most tonight with what you're speaking, well, tonight for me, I'm in Canada, is understanding the beingness. I'm the recovered overachiever, overfunctioner that was conditioned and had to peel off layers and layers and layers. And if I take the biggest takeaway tonight away is, for me, my bliss is just that you described it, is just get up and find what fills your heart with joy and go be that, go do that. And there has been until tonight this little tiny niggling piece that was like, but what about your work? What about your job? What about the 3D constructs? And I'm realizing that's just my ego.
Yeah.
And letting it go is just so relaxing that there's full trust that it will all be okay. Because my favorite thing to do is just to show up as light with a smile on my face and help make somebody's day. And I guess
I want to say that to you. It gets very simple. People don't understand we have a very simple life. Our lives are somebody wrote me recently and she's like, something about, something about complicated. I'm like, this isn't complicated. We have the simple, most humbled life. We don't lack or need for anything. We literally live as light. We do get up and we do work and we do all these things, and we do it because we love and we are fulfilling purposes, and they're the most important thing as a part of a much bigger picture. But when you say it'll all be okay, it'll be better than okay.
So let me ask this question then to take this to the next level, because I've been asking for show me more for a while now. And when you talk about service and purpose, my 3D egoic self is trying to make it happen. And I know I need to step back and let it happen. Can you just offer some kind of a path or a thought that can just pull me away completely from this egoic thinking?
Well, and the biggest thing is my words are listen, honor, trust. And the thing about this is that you don't need to know, you just have to know. And we don't have to try, we just have to be. And so when it gets into service and purposes, service isn't a thing, it's how we live our life. So if you focus on how you're living and how you're showing up, and how you're coming through, and that you're holding a higher level of purity, which will then equate to integrity on a soul level. Then it doesn't matter what we do, because everything we do is service. Everything we do is from that deep pleasure of love and purity and caring inside of us. We just have to be this. And so when you talk about, this is the tricky part for the ego aspect, is learning to trust. One thing that everybody, when we start to understand this whole thing, is you're constantly transitioning into a new reality. You're constantly, when you get into quantum jumping, then you're jumping into mega. But the beauty is, through your light body, you actually don't have to do anything. You just have to be. And so through your light body, your cells are actually quantum jumping for you. But let's say you get up today and something magical happens, and that's a part of a quantum jump. Now 3D is quantum jumping too. They're just not enjoying the jumps. Okay, so it's really about letting go of everything that you perceive. It's really about going inside and asking. And in the beginning for me, I had to ask every day, what do I do? I had to be willing to be led by my higher self and let it tell me what to do. Does that make sense?
It does. And I'm in that space now of trusting my higher self fully.
Yep.
I guess I'm so excited that I've come to this place of beingness, and I'm used to it enough now that the efforting doing this part of me is my old self.
Right. Yeah, no, this is different. This isn't trying hard. That was 3D. Okay. This is allowing, opening up, hear, see, feel. See, look at the possibilities, look at the potentials of everything. Pay attention to your ideas and your inspiration. And so in the beginning, when a lot of us start to open up, it'll be get ready to write a book. And our humans going, oh, I don't want to write a book. So pay attention to when you argue. Pay attention to when you're presented with an idea that scares you but excites you. Pay attention to something that pushes you beyond your limits and your boundaries. Because those are the things we actually have to do. You're going to start breaking down the limitations and the conditioning and the programming of, I don't have enough, I'm not enough, I need something to do. So you see where I'm going? And it's more really being willing to step into your higher service roles and not let the fear or the judgment or the worry get in the way. I remember one day I was walking down the street and the words were going to the store. You'll get words. Pay attention to the random things that pop in. And it was like, go into the store and ask them if they'd be willing to put your book in the store. I'm like, do I have to? Like, yep, sure do. What's funny was years earlier, I had seen that I would be doing book signings and in the store, and I saw the whole thing. And when I was walking in this reality, when you start understanding how vortexes and passageways and stargates work, templates take minimum, when we're doing this 100 billion%, templates take 2 years to build. And so even from the point of starting something, a lot of things will take a couple years. So it isn't about existing in linearity. It's about getting it started and doing it and allow things to come to fruition, allow things to come to you. It's vibrational now. It's about accomplishing. We accomplish a lot. It's about removing the time constraints and all the things that put pressure on things. Get up and see, how do you feel? And one day you're going to go, oh, I'm excited to do this. The next day you're going to go, nope, don't care. So it's not going to be linear. It's going to be based upon what you have the energy for in that moment. It's going to be based upon your higher guidance in that moment. It's going to be based upon how you feel. The biggest thing is identify your obstacles and your excuses and eliminate them. The biggest thing is procrastination and putting it off to another day. No, right now. Quantum is right now. So it's like, if you have a thought or you look at something, if you get up and walk around the house, and it's like, this needs to get done. Pay attention to how long it takes you to actually get it done. For us, the moment I see something that needs to get done, I do it right then. There's no, let me do it one day. It's right now. Move things out of the way. The next moment something needs to be done, Get it done, move it out of the way. The faster you dissolve excuses, the faster we stop procrastinating and putting it off, the more you open up to see what supports, what contributes, what will make it happen. And you get up and actually don't think about it. Just do it. Stop thinking. That's a big one. When you're quantum jumping, you're not thinking. I heard you there. So
Receiving. That is the most glorious feeling inside. It's like permission that my higher self is really fully giving all of whatever my old self is, because when I'm living like you're describing, which is my favorite way to be, it's that feeling of being on holidays, really, but that's my beingness. It's just living like that every single day.
Well, and you know, before we came in here, I was really foggy, groggy, and you guys got to get ready to be in foggy, groggy a lot. You literally are anchoring the dream state into your physical reality, and you start walking in a lucid dream. It's bizarre for a while. It gets very psychedelic. It gets very trippy. Your body starts releasing DMT. You start confusing day and night. You start confusing whether you're awake or asleep. You can't remember if that happened, or did it really happen, or did I imagine it? And it gets really trippy for a while. And so the less linear we are, the more we can actually start walking in a dream. Not that we're not already doing it, it's just our perceptions are different. When we get into crisis frequencies, when we get into plasma frequencies, the plasma energies are very lucid and very malleable, and everything bends and breathes, and it gets really trippy for a while. You can feel it. It's a different feeling, but it's through full presence. This means to get completely out of our head on every level. Surrender your whole body and your whole beingness to just being. And then what will happen is, once we master being, we have to master being first. Our human ego can't be. And so it's really pulling away from everything. It's really about getting very present. It's really about letting everything go on you have to do it with your whole everything. Your head, your body, your energy. You have to completely let go on every level. You can't hold on to any control, any lack, any fear, any resistance, any defensiveness, any of that stuff, because that's what gets in the way. And all the people go, I'm stuck. No, you're not. You're in your head. And so we don't get stuck. Oh, and one thing you said earlier, Gabrielle, something about having to do it again. We don't do it again. There was more. There was more programming. You did it. Now you've gotten to the next program. We don't understand how deeply embedded these programs are. We spend years and years and years and years deprogramming. And the thing about it is that the moment somebody they don't even have to speak. They can just come in with their energy, and everything is audible and visible within the field of consciousness. And so somebody's energy, you can go, oh, your heart is closed. They don't have to say anything, because it's a vibrational frequency that transmits out. And so the beauty of this is that as we clear all that programming, a whole new world opens up. And this whole reality that we didn't know existed starts to come, but it comes from inside. So the deeper you go inside, the more you can access the different dimensions, the more you get to see. And then what will happen is 3D isn't outside anymore, it's inside. And you're walking around in 4D and 5D and 60 and 70 and 8D and all these different Ds. What they are is different densities, though. So your body actually has to drop the density. Our bodies were anchored in the lower dimensions. We actually have to float and fly. We don't ground. Just had this conversation with one of the girls here. I told her the other day, I'm like, we don't ground. Grounding is a control mechanism where you're trying to stop floating and flying. We float, we fly, but you have to expand your consciousness so vast that you actually float and fly in order to pull your body into a higher dimension and to unanchor from 3D. Gravity goes inside your body. You got to be very careful how you walk. Lori, for you, as you master presence and just being, then all these ideas will start to come forth. All these options and possibilities and all these little flickers of light, all this new wisdom. For some, it's like, go design a course, start teaching. Go volunteer in your local community. Go do this. And this is where the part becomes, now it's time to do. You learn to be, and then you do. And what will happen is that at first you have to be, see, and then do, but you're doing from your higher place of consciousness of what you saw. Does this make sense, Lori?
Totally. 100%.
You're not doing from your ego aspect. You allowed yourself to be long enough so that you could see. You allowed yourself to be long enough so that you could access your higher dimensional dream. You allowed yourself to be fully present and in tune long enough to open up a portal inside to bring that knowledge through. And now it's time to get up and go do it. Does this make sense?
It does.
The gap is the ego will make an excuse and it won't get it done. We get up and get it. That's why we're so busy. We're getting it all done. There's no delay in seeing, being, doing in our reality. We see, we be, we do, we are constantly, all simultaneously at the same time. When you function from 0 point, there is so much that needs to get done. You're busy all the time. The Unity Consciousness coach that came through a few years ago is that once we all get aligned within ourselves, we can actually come together and work together and create the bigger realities and accomplish the bigger realities that are amazing. And we can share these amazing realities, and everybody lives from unity consciousness. And it's beautiful. We're all partners. We function on everybody honors themselves. We all have our own space. We all take care of what we need. We all get to live these amazing dreams. But we have to embrace the dream state. We have to allow ourselves to go to sleep. When your body says, I'm tired, go lay down. When your body says, get up. In the beginning, when your light body's activating, your head will say one thing, but your energy body will say something different. And so what will happen is your human aspect will be going, oh, I just want to lay here. And your energy's going, get up, get up. You got things to do. Or you'll be laying there going, I need to do this. And your body's going, nope, right here, don't move. And so you have to learn to tell the difference of which is which. And listen to the one that feels aligned versus the one that you're used to doing the old habitual thing, the old habits, and the thing that keeps you in that old cycled state. Does that make sense, Lori?
It does. And I've gone through that. And it's a most interesting experience to listen to my light body and my energy body. And every time I've cleared density and been flattened for 2 or 3 or 4 days, I've totally honored listening because I ignored that for so many years. So I've had both extremes. And so it is a gift to learn to listen, and it does make days and nights and time completely circular.
Yeah. Well, and the beauty of this is that if everybody will actually come to this place of listening and honoring and trusting and acknowledging and then doing it, it's so easy. There's no chaos. There's no drama. There's no confusion. It's actually pure joy. You're creating, you're inspired, you're having a blast, and you technically are completely, one of the biggest things is soul fulfillment. You're completely fulfilled. There is this is fulfillment on every level, that you are filled with it's just every moment is so fulfilling when you live this way. That basically you have no desire to ever go back to 3D realities, or even 4D is where you're stuck in the middle. And I'm using the word stuck for a moment, but we're never stuck. Okay. 4D is where we stay until we consciously choose 5D, and New Earth is our only reality, and start to listen. 4D is where we stay, where we learn to start to listen. 4D is where we stay with our body. And so, but there does come that moment. And I want to say this because it's really prominent for the time we're in. Anybody that hasn't, I might even do an event on this that I saw yesterday. Anybody that hasn't remembered their fall from consciousness, if you haven't re-experienced it, you actually want to ask to. And it can be devastating to remember. It brings up immense grief. all the separation, but it will also dissolve everything, and you will understand everything. And that remembered state is where we function from. That deep connection and that understanding, that's where oneness in everything is. You don't ever separate it. It will change your whole life. But you got to be ready. And the biggest thing is you don't do things one time, you do it every time. So everybody's like, well, what do I do? This course or that one? Do them all. It doesn't really matter. You want to flood your consciousness with everything higher consciousness. You want to do everything that aligns or feels aligned or resonates or speaks to you. It doesn't matter what you do. It matters that you do. And so you do everything that you're guided to. And usually it'll push your limits because it's supposed to. Usually it will ask you something of you. The other day I was walking around, I was looking at some programs and some people and things that we're all doing. And the words were, you're not invested until you've invested. You're not invested until you've invested your money, was actually the first comment. Because there are so many of us, even me and everybody else, at first we bellyached and whined and moaned we had to spend our money. Then we started understanding how this worked. And basically we have to be 9 billion% invested in this. Every part of us is invested. Everything we have is invested in New Earth is an investment of your whole everything. And anything less than that, and you get less. And so the ego aspect will bellyache and whine and cry and claim to not have, and it won't want to do this. You have to understand that's your ego, and it is there to interfere with your process because that's the role it plays. And I had to, way back when, choose to spend my money on this weird stuff that really, I was like, wow, I really want that. But it was my rent money. And I'd choose between my fear and my rent or paying for a course. The feeling was so strong. And what that taught me was the moment I paid for it, the money came back in. And I had no money coming from anywhere, but it just came back in. It was miraculous. When I started understanding that, as I started reprioritizing my life and I actually spent the money on, the words were spend the money on your vibration, get your vibration up. Because what happens is when you function from your highest state of consciousness and your highest vibration, money is no longer an issue because it's not about money anymore. You live from a state of pure gratitude and appreciation. You don't waste. Why you have things changes. They actually serve a purpose. They actually support humanity and you share. It's a very different existence than the old realities were. And so when you don't function from a place of lack inside of you, you won't come from lacking in your life anymore. And so for those of us who do this, we invest everything we've got because we understand how important this is. We are investing in humanity. We love humanity that much. It makes that much of a difference. And so as each person understands, once you remember everything, so in the passageway of Navigating Dimensions, for anybody who has that book, there's a little quote, I want to remember, I want to see, I can't even remember the quote. I used to say it to myself every night before I went to bed. I started saying that quote. After I'd said it to myself like repeatedly over and over and over again, it was a phrase my higher self gave my little human, okay? And, hi Megan. These are spontaneous awakenings. They are spontaneous expansions. They are spontaneous. A lot of remembrances will come in the beginning through a spontaneous experience. But you actually will expand. And if you're laying down, you have to be in a completely relaxed, surrendered state for this to occur. And you have to completely let go on every level and just be. And when you are, and you can just say, I want to remember, and just really mean it with your whole being, but let go. Don't hold on. Don't try. And then say, I'm ready. Being ready to remember is really important, because if you're not ready, your body's locked down. It's got defense mechanisms, and it's actually stopping everything from happening for you. And after I said, I want to remember, I want to remember, I want to remember, one day, boom, I expanded. I went back to before the creation of all existence. I went back to before the creation of time. Nothing existed. And you're having an experience. It's not it's a memory, but you're actually going through it right then. And I refell from consciousness. I refell from source. I refell, and I separated off into all the separation and the devastation. I got to see how everything came to be created. It was devastating, and I cried for months. I couldn't even talk. But it changed my life, because from that point forward, my heart never closed, and I never went back to sleep again. I never went unconscious ever again. It made the difference, and that's where Awakening to Remembering was born. The words were, go buy a new domain. You're going to write the book. I didn't know what any of it meant. It came through me, and then all of a sudden, it was me. It wasn't anything outside of me anymore. It wasn't a separation. It was me and my fullest everything. And one thing that's really important is don't fear these things. Don't try to control them. Don't fear the fear. Don't fear pain. Don't fear those things. Understand the roles that they play and why these things are occurring. Everything has its place. Everything is important in the bigger scheme of things. Everything occurring is occurring exactly as it's supposed to be. Everything is divinely aligned. The thing about it is you want to be highest aligned so that your experience is divinely aligned for you. Does that make sense, Lori?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Thank you. I hope everyone else has found this amazing, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a roadmap.
Keep going and doing exactly what you're doing. Don't try, just be. Open up, trust, listen, allow, open up to see. And it does mean presence every day. But when you get up, just be inspired and excited. You don't, 99 times of my every day, I never know anything and I know everything all at the same time. You know nothing, but you know. You see, but you never know when certain things are going to, but by the time they occur, you've been working on them for so long, it's like, finally, you're here. Magic. It's amazing. And so it's really embracing all of it fully and being so excited for everything new. And when you embrace the new, you bring the new, you literally birth new earth through you. It comes from inside of your body. It's bizarre. Your belly blows up, all kinds of cool things. You have morning sickness, the nausea comes, cosmic rays activate. Multidimensionality doesn't fit into a linear anything. It is going to be the most bizarre experience you've ever had. It is also going to be the most rewarding and beautiful experience if we allow it to. Awakening is the harsh part. That's why it's so important for everybody to open completely up and move through the harshness and let go of the inner fight and the inner struggle with yourself. And really do whatever it takes to come into that union within you. Come to that place of peace inside of you. Let the whole outside fall away. Come back to 0 point. Function from this place. Function from that place of peace. I never leave peace, ever. I never leave that unified state of consciousness. I never separate off, ever. It's not an option. So when we actually, every one of us have these capabilities. Every one of us, it's encoded in your DNA. But it's going to be your 12-strand DNA, not your 2-strand DNA. So it means doing everything you can to activate your light body. That's a part of the free stuff that I gave Gabrielle for you guys. There's a light body Merkaba activation in there that will support with the activation of the light body. Everything I do is on a quantum state of consciousness. Everything I do works with the crystalline and the plasma and the unified field of consciousness. So basically anything you guys receive from me, it's all doing that. All you have to do is choose to work with it. And you guys that know me know I've got a massive living library. It doesn't matter when I wrote it because it's quantum. It doesn't matter if I wrote it. Most of the planet is going through now my 7 to 10 years ago. And so when I ascended, then the collectives are ascending. New Earth is an ascended consciousness. New Earth is a we consciousness of one. New earth is you live that, and then your life reflects that back to you. And it's vibrational, it's energetic. And so we have to stop focusing on the physical. Anyway, all right. Thank you, sweet Miss Lori.
Thank you, Lori. So I just wanted to add while you were talking,
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
the true state of non-attachment. Without saying, I'm in non-attachment, you just are not in it. That's the key, and that's super exciting to be there and to experience it.
When we let go of that attachment, we free ourselves and we open up to all the amazing things that are possible. Our attached state is what stops the whole thing. And so there is zero attachment to everything that I have doesn't mean anything. There's no attachment to anything that I have. That's why I can have it, though. I don't have an attachment to it. It doesn't make a difference. It does support vibrationally, but there's no attachment to it. It doesn't mean anything. It does matter. It supports all of it. When people come here and they're in this energy, they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And because we understand. But there's zero attachment to any person. There's zero attachment to anything. There's zero attachment to a story. I don't have stories. I'll tell them to teach, but I don't have any. There's zero attachment. That is pure freedom inside. That's where you're allowed to be everything again. That's where you're allowed to experience everything fully. It is that attachment actually is an anchor to the lower dimensions. It'll actually bind your body. When we start talking about density and dimensions, your body actually vibrates at the dimension you experience through your level of consciousness. So when everybody starts to understand how important multidimensional consciousness is, that it actually will dictate your experiences here, then it shifts from being this frou-frou-y weird stuff. It shifts from being this, oh, they're the crazy people, to actually being, this is important. This makes a difference in my life. And when we actually understand how important higher consciousness is for the planet, then when we start shifting our perception of things, our whole reality, everything changes, our whole experience does. And it can be that easy. In one split second, each person can go, you know what, I'm not going to be in my head anymore. Hold on just 1 second. Let me stop. You do whatever it takes to get your heart open, and all of a sudden you're back in the fifth dimension. That's how easy it can be. Now you got to hold that so your body can achieve it. Don't let your heart close again. But moving from the third to the fifth dimension is where you function from in your body. And if you're in your head, you're in the third dimension, and your body is bound to that experience. In any second, you can shift your consciousness and the state of consciousness you function from. But you do have to dissolve and resolve the ego and merge it into one.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny, I love about these conversations is that we start out talking about this, and we have come all the way full circle to exactly what we started with, which is fantastic because everybody gets to experience it from different perspectives and points of view and understanding. And that is always my goal in this show, is to bring out for everybody, because we all have feelings and thoughts and things that are going on in our head that get triggered when people are talking and sharing. And that helps you see where you need to work for yourself to release and, what do I want to say, smooth it out, let it go, so that you can see where the glitch is for you. Because I feel for myself, that's always the hardest thing, is to see your own glitches. You may see the problem, but where is it within you?
It is in the beginning because it's not our natural way. And you're actually, you know, we're bringing ourselves into full consciousness again. So we're returning to a state of consciousness that we went to sleep from. And so the biggest thing is that while it appears to be, you know, we got to do the work, all we have to do is really shift to that place where we can observe and see. 99% of this is allowing stuff to fall away. It's not hard.
There you go.
The hard part is your ego won't let it go. And so it's just the recognition of that and the understanding. All of this is ego when it comes to 3D. 5D and above is zero ego. It still exists. It just is like 0.00001%. It only comes up, your triggers are very small. When you have one, it's like, oh, I have an emotion going on. Hold a minute, what's going on inside of me? Wow, okay.
Right.
I got a girl, we're doing all this work together and stuff. I looked at her the other day, I'm like, just let my ego have this little pleasure of getting upset for 1 moment, please. She looked at me and I'm like, give my ego this moment. And then there was one thing that I was actually enjoying. I'm like, give my ego this experience. I really want to enjoy this on an ego level for just 1 moment. And then it's like, then I'll let it go. And you know, you recognize your ego.
Yes.
And you're not fighting. It's, you know, when we get into 3D, 45D, there is the battle of the ego. There is the battle between the dark and the light. There is the battle of all these things, but it's the inner battle. Once you, and I have an activation, and there's parts in the book, and it talks about, it's all inside. When the inner battle ceases, when you allow your light to come through, when you allow the fight to resolve and dissolve, you can actually return to you, your purest, most beautiful aspect of who you are. Realities are versions. So New Earth is a version, a different version of a reality. 3D is an unconscious version, one where nobody has a clue. The thing about it is that you can experience any version of 12D is a completely different version of a reality. But you have the consciousness first, you have the awareness first, but then you have the process of aligning the whole physical reality with that. Every experience has to be aligned. Every choice, every decision, everything we do. That's the part that takes our energy. But once you align it, all you got to do is keep it aligned. There's no effort that goes into it whatsoever. It's actually really easy. It just never gets out of alignment anymore. So, but getting it aligned is because you're actually reversing the polarity. You're reversing everything. And you will have to put the effort in because you're uncreating everything you created and recreating a whole new reality through highest alignment, through soul alignment, through soul embodiment, through your highest aspects of yourself and through different levels of consciousness. And each reality is different. So it's important not to try to squeeze everybody into the same box because not everybody lives in the same reality. We're not having the same experience. There is zero suffering in any of the 5D to 12D reality. There's zero lack going on. It is a completely different reality. It's a completely different experience. There's no devastation. Are we going to go through disruption of services? Yes, we have the awareness. It's okay. Well, let's look at this. You have awareness. You see everything that's going on. It's like no big deal. This is going to drive communities together. This is going to bring people together. It's going to do a lot of things. This fear purge is necessary. That's why I gave you the transcending the survival mode, because it's transcending the fear-based programming inside. It's really important. Because once the fear goes, your power comes through. And that it's a different type of power. It's power through love. It's pure power. It's not a power over or under. It's a power to be. This pure essence and this beautiful energy. And you basically can obliterate everything really easily.
This is very important. All right, how are you feeling?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm good. Would you like to take one more caller?
I would love to.
Althea, are you there? Unmute your Zoom, Althea.
Althea's been here. Hey, Miss Althea.
I did not even, I was working here on the side, listening to you girls. I didn't even know I was on a Q&A.
You hit your hand up, my love.
I swear to God, I did not. Oh, I see it says lower hand. I must have.
Okay, sweetheart. It's funny because out of this whole list, your name just kept popping up in front of my face. So,
well, I'll share this. Was actually writing a piece on gratitude. So I'm very grateful to have Lisa back. It's just great to hear your voice. It's been a while. And I loved everything that you shared. Gabrielle, I think your name is, I'm sorry. You know, I loved all your points, the linearity, the everything. It was good. I was listening and tuned in and enjoying it.
wonderful. Well, thank you, my love. All right, so we'll go to someone. Thank you, Althea. Bye, sweetheart. All right, we're gonna allow Corey. Are you there?
Hey, Corey.
I'm trying to unmute. They
Hello.
always move. It's really bizarre. Go ahead, Corey. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hey, Corey.
Hi. First, I want to thank you so much, Lisa, because your story has really. When my partner introduced me to your story, I didn't know that there was someone that actually played out a very similar story to me, almost identical. So I want to thank you for opening up, because it really has helped, even to the point where I'm actually about to walk now and build ascension homes.
I love that.
So it's kind of strange, the parallels. And in that, I am a conscious creator, and I want to make sure and see how you could explain this. As we're moving through different reality streams and timelines, how do we make sure we're holding up the integrity of the organic ascension timeline and making sure we're sharing the highest vibrational truth when we are speaking? Because the issue I see right now is there's a lot of truth coming out right now that's very collapsing for the collective and for a lot of people's lives. But how do we make sure that we are sharing from a spot where this truth is going to help us to shift into that higher narrative versus keeping us stuck in old realities?
There are many ways. One, realize there's not one truth.
Mm-hmm.
Any truth that anybody tries to share is their current truth. And so I got away from truth a long time ago. Okay. And the reason being is because egos love to battle what's true. And when you get into multidimensional experiences, multidimensional living, multidimensional life, all of this stuff, multidimensionality, when you expand your consciousness so completely, truth changes based upon the vibration in the moment. This, for one person, this is true. For another person, it's not. For this dimension, this is true. When you expand it out, that truth is no longer true anymore. There's a bazillion other truths. It's more understanding. For me, if you've read any of my writings over the years, I present people with a bazillion different realities.
Mm-hmm.
I throw it at them. People are like, Lisa, can you come back and do it? No, that's not my role. My role is to expand people so far beyond those old previous everything, and to present an understanding that there's so much more. And so one thing, Corey, is to always not challenge from a going against, but basically identify any programs, and we challenge ourselves. So like recently we had something going on, and Marissa that's here with me, I'm like, watch. We challenge ourselves, push yourself, push it. And I was pushing her because I'm like working around the clock. I'm like, come on, let's do this. And I looked at her and I said, either we push ourselves or we get pushed. And so I will choose to push myself, get up and get it done. Our realities don't collapse anymore because we actually get up and we come through, we honor, we fulfill, we do all these things that we see that we're capable of. We don't make excuses. When you come into truth, Corey, it's important not to constrict. It's important not to regurgitate anything you heard. It's important to come from deep inside of you and offer multiple perspectives, not just one. It's important to expand everything into different dimensions. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's what I would call like your quantum talk. It's taking things and sharing it from many different angles. So it does make sense. It's just that there's sometimes that I I feel like there's a consciousness band I can't quite tap into yet, quote unquote. And so it's hard to share that narrative or that perspective. And so it's, how do we?
But look at it this way. It's never hard if you're truly connected and in your heart, you're just being really real and really pure.
Got it.
If you come from that level of purity every time and you're really real and you really care and you're sharing from your purest place, there is no wrong. If you are deeply connected and you are feeling and others are feeling you and your energy isn't going out and like sucking. So there's a lot of that old energy and stuff that everybody's got to clear. When your transmission comes from your whole being of purity, it's very pure and it transmits out through the field. And so anything that you do, if you just make sure you're coming from your highest place every time, there is no wrong. Just hold that. Just come from that place. It's not what you say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's the energy behind what I say.
It's the energy, it's the feeling, it's the what people don't understand, humans, is that we actually transmit codes. We actually transmit light encoded data. We actually transmit different levels of consciousness. We actually transmit all of the information through our own fields and out. And it actually goes out and touches the hearts of everybody. You guys feel me when you read me. You guys feel me when you talk to me. You guys feel me. And everybody is receiving those pure codes. That's why everything is so easy, though, is because it's very pure. It's not convoluted. There's no agenda. There's no impurities. There's no distortion. It's very pure. And so, Corey, I think the answer, and you'll have to re-ask me the question because it all goes. But basically, just be very pure and hold yourself to your highest everything. That's very pure and loving and kind. Be really, really real. And we share ourselves. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Just share you. Share your knowledge, your inner knowledge, your divine intelligence, not the linear logical part. Mm-hmm. And we're always expanding. We're always transitioning something. We're able to bring, the beautiful part of plasma energies is we can evolve anything through to a higher state of consciousness. Every person I talk to, I can evolve that into a higher, everything. Every one of us have that capability here. If we are fully, deeply connected and living and being our purest everything, you can evolve everything into a higher state of consciousness through love. There is not one thing that's an exception to that. But you have to be it to do it. You have to live it to do it, or you can't. So, Corey, I wouldn't get so caught up in the semantics more than the presence. I would focus on your presence, your divine essence, and your being, and just being and allowing and trusting. In the beginning, for me, what I started learning was if I just trusted and lived from my heart, and that I didn't bring my head into anything, that anything that came out of me was always the right answer.
Perfect.
Does that help?
Yeah, it helps a lot, actually. It simplifies it, because I feel like a lot of, especially being in a masculine embodiment and just the way I am, my mind will get in the way. And to simplify it really does help, especially since we have a lot of creators right now that go very multidimensional with the way they talk. And it can get to the point where your heart shuts down because you can't really get it. And so simplifying it really does help.
Well, and it's also not trying to get into the game of the game playing that a lot of people are doing. And that's just all ego stuff. And it's just being really pure and let everybody be where they are. Respect. This is about respect. Yeah. Respect where everybody is, but respect where you are too. One thing that I did, and that all of us do, is like people that used to read me and they're like, Lisa, I can't understand you. Well, that's because I was bringing my light language was just talking to you like this. The only thing is that I brought through a star language. I brought through a light language. And when people read me, they can't understand me, but they can feel me. They can't understand me, but they're like, there's something there. That's because I brought through our lineages. I brought through our language through a quantum state of consciousness. So when I write, I am sharing our star lineage. I'm sharing our star language. I'm sharing our soul language. That's why humans can't understand us.
Mm-hmm.
But the beauty is that every person that starts to understand me becomes their language too, because this is our language. And so it's really just living from that place. Okay. And if you go deep inside every time and you always come from that place, you're always going to provide what is appropriate for the current moment. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Keep going. That's beautiful.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
I think Ursina. Let's see if she's there, if she can. It's not unmuting. Okay, we're gonna go to Vivian. I can't get it to unmute.
There she goes.
Now I can hear you.
Aloha, sweetheart.
Who is
Hi,
it?
Lisa.
Hi.
It is Ursina. Okay, great.
How are you doing?
I was so happy to
Aw.
see you again. It's
I know it's been so long.
yeah, it's 3:30 in the morning and I'm not tired a bit.
That
Listening
happened.
to you.
Yay. Thank you, sweetheart.
And what happened, what really made me raise my hand was last night I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard that I needed to speak to Alice, the translator.
Yes.
And the first person who talked to you was Alice. Because I have started a new website now, and I was thinking I have been doing some translations into German, and she's doing it into French.
Yes.
But I did not have the courage to translate anything of your text. I thought that's just too difficult. And then when I saw that she is doing it, I thought, well, maybe why not? So what do you think about that?
Well, and basically when people translate my work, it works on them. So you're receiving the light codes, and as you're translating, so like Alice translated for a couple years or a few years or whatever. She even has a dedicated YouTube channel, and she's done such beautiful stuff. It really means just one thing that we do have, and when you say the word courage, it's interesting, is that it does take a lot of courage to step into the fears. It does take a lot of courage to listen to the invisible realms and embrace that which makes no logical sense whatsoever. But if you do decide to translate for anybody, you're going to be integrating those codes as you do. Some translators will translate and then they'll stop because they're done and they got what they needed. Some come back and they translate. Really just listen to what feels aligned for you. You will know. That's really all that matters. It's just to honor what feels highest aligned for you. And what will happen is as you feel it and you're connected with it, don't be scared though. It's not hard. That's what our ego says. It's more just being ready and just sitting with it and just see what happens. Don't have any expectations or need. If you start to doing it like, no, this just doesn't feel right, then let it go. It's not meant to be. If you start to do it and you get all inspired, like, oh yeah, this is awesome, then there you go. But really go into everything without an expectation and see how it feels for you and trust that, okay? And that's with everything that we do. Let go of the expectations. Let go of the, when we're talking about other stuff, all of the stories and excuses if I can't or any kind of stuff, which isn't applying to what you're saying, Christina. But it's more with everything that we do, is to see how it feels. In the beginning, when I started doing this, I had a food I had to eat, and I'm like, I don't want to eat that. And it's like, you don't get a choice. You have to do everything, and then you get a choice. What I found was if I would just do it, then I got to see whether I loved it or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so just trust that for you, you'll know. there won't be any questions, so don't worry about it. You'll do exactly as feels highest aligned for you. It won't be complicated. It won't be hard. It might take time. We are very dedicated. We do dedicate a lot. It takes a lot of time and energy to do the work we do. And so as long as we understand that, then it's really not a big deal. But sometimes it takes a lot of energy. And so if you're okay with that, you might have to take a break and go back to it later. If you're trying to do anything of mine, the light codes, most people will go to sleep. And so be okay if you start doing it and you get drowsy or sleepy and you have to go to sleep. That's the light codes working. It's a part of the waking up process, okay?
Yeah, that's exactly the experience, you know, that the light codes go through me, and I'm very excited about it, and I love doing it. And it's very, very intense. As you say, it takes a lot of time, but that's not the problem.
Well, and anybody that translates my work, they write in, and we have a way that we set up. I haven't been really good at keeping up with the last few years, but we have like a program. We're setting people up. Everybody supports. We have all these different support programs and stuff like that. So if you do end up doing it, make sure you let us know, because we'll work out a program where you're included in some of the stuff we do, okay?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Lisa.
All right, sweetie. Thank you, Ursula. All right, we have one more hand up. So we will take Vivian, and then we will, it is 10:30 here on the East Coast.
How we roll.
And those lovely people in Europe who are with us.
They do.
I love having you all here. All right, Vivian, go ahead.
We go through.
Okay. Oh, hi, Lisa. Hi. I'm so happy to see your face. I've missed missed these sessions. And oh God, you said so much today. I took a risk today, and I was feeling very moved about something about what's going on, and did a Facebook Live, and it felt so vulnerable, but it's gotten more views than anything I've ever done before. So it's kind of just resonant today. But I don't want to use the word confusion, but around work, it's like in this process, I still feel kind of like I'm approaching what I do. I guess I haven't brought the language into my work with others, and I'm hesitant to make that jump, and yet I still really want to be of service, without maybe the language. And so there's a little bit of conflict there. And, maybe that's my version of Gabrielle's house is the 3D kind of thing, the consciousness of
well, and look at it this way. One, we all used to separate everything out. And back when I was working different jobs, I started understanding that my role was to bring consciousness to the job. My role was to bring this, and I wasn't very conscious at the time, but I was as conscious as I was at that point. It was more than I was before, but consciousness means kindness.
Means what?
Kindness.
Mm.
Consciousness means creating a space where people feel safe.
That's what I'm good at.
Consciousness isn't what most people think it is. It's everything other than what people think it is usually. Consciousness is kind. It's an energy where you create a space where everybody can come together in unity and connect. Consciousness creates a space that's safe. So like with my community, it's safe. People come together, they feel that they open up. Everybody is treated with the utmost respect, but everybody is held accountable for their energy. There's zero BS allowed. I don't tolerate disrespect. I don't tolerate unconscious behavior. And because of that, I hold everybody to their highest state. And so we actually get to have this amazing experience because everybody is held to that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, but when you're talking about in the work and doing this, don't put, you're in the place where you have an expectation. Let go of the expectations of what you're supposed to do. It's more about allowing yourself to be comfortable, to be open, to create a space where others are comfortable to open up to. It's open, honest, respectful communication. It's caring. And so it's not walking in with resistance and the walls up. It's not trying to do things the old way anymore. So it's more asking yourself the question. And in the beginning, it's all just about being happy. In the beginning, it's about bringing joy. In the beginning, it's learning to do the simple thing. So it's not a big thing in the beginning. We all have this thing, we're supposed to do this big, bold everything, and it's supposed to make a huge difference. And we get so caught up in that we don't do the little things for a while. And it's really about letting go of, it's not this big, big, big. You grow into the big thing with every little thing you do. So the question I would ask you, Vivian, is what little things can you do that bring more kindness and caring and openness and light to the atmosphere? What little things can you do that make a difference when the whole world is scared to death? How do you be that peace? Look at it from a very simple way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just from a word that is really resonant to me is innocence. So to bring my innocence to it.
Bring the innocent child, the wide-eyed child full of wonder that loves to play and have fun. Yep. We got to learn to play again. That's really hard for those of us who were linear. We couldn't play. We forgot how. So it's really returning to that innocence and that purity, and really just bring the play, bring the fun, bring the joy, bring the excitement. That's a part of consciousness. It is bring in, when somebody's scared to death, bring laughter, bring a hug.
I can do those things.
It's not hard. We complicate the whole thing when we get in our head. Start with the simple things, and what will happen is when you do the simple things, then you're going to start seeing other things you can do, and then you'll just do something else, and then you'll do something, and then it turns into a whole lot of fun. Because then you just start seeing all these amazing ways, but it's simple things at first. Okay?
Yeah.
Yay.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you going to be out and about more now?
I am. I'm emerging. We have some huge projects that are global support systems that we're launching, and we're trying to get those done. Some of the stuff we've been working on for several years. It supports the medical and scientific communities, and it re-educates people on DNA and a bunch of other things. And the new e-commerce system for the whole globe to implement. So we're trying to get all that stuff out, and we've evolved our community into a new one, and we're getting all that stuff done. But I have another interview in a couple weeks. I am going to start doing more. It's just that the workload, when you guys don't see me, I'm working. We work. And so when you guys don't see me, I'm doing a lot. Gatekeepers and grid keepers, we have like a lot of roles we have to fulfill. They don't fall into the norm. And so last year was a fulfillment of the 12D templates had to be completed for humanity. And I had to dedicate the whole year to nothing but that. So I had to let everything go. And so when you're anchoring with your body, so a lot of people don't know you anchor with your body. And so when you're anchoring all these codes within your body, then it takes an immense amount of dedication and focus and letting go of everything. But what happens is that when we start doing this, then the rest of our life gets easy. So it's really understanding that if we all are actually embracing and living our highest aligned, the rest of it restructures and reworks itself to support fulfillment of those things. Gatekeepers and grid keepers have huge roles, frequencies holders, that we're always doing like a ton of different jobs that people don't ever get to see. And so completing that, last year I'm going, universe, light body, please. I want my energy back. I want to be bang on. I want to be kicking it. And as soon as I came through January and completed all those codes, then I'm like bang on, and I've been like running around like. With completing the entire ascension process, you return to like it never occurred. So I have my body back and I can do things again. So yes, I'm going to start doing a whole lot more. I'm going to get the visionary program that started a couple years ago and start connecting with a lot of visionaries. And we're going to start bringing through the New Earth visionary programs and stuff like that to support. And so we have a ton of things going. And as we get them all launched, then I'll be able to do more with people. So thank you, sweetheart. I missed you guys too, by the way.
They missed you, obviously, my love. So
I've been gone. It's sweet. Thank you guys. I love you.
But this is so beautiful that everyone has come out to welcome you back. Such love.
I have.
Such love for you, my love. So first, I want to let everyone know that out at soulscape.tv/MC3, you can access all of season 3 and Lisa's free gifts. There will be a lovely picture of her. You click on the button and it will take you to her website, not immediately, after I load up her video tomorrow. So know that it's there. Soulscape.tv/MC3 will bring you to everything and all the free gifts that are available for everyone from every speaker, because every speaker that comes on, they are just loving, heartfelt, and they all want you to have whatever it is you need for the support that you're needing in the moment, because who knows what it is in the moment.
Let me say this, Gabrielle, it's really important because our human ego doesn't understand this. So, you know, when I put stuff out there or somebody else puts something out there or anything you use, if you use a meditation or an activation, whatever the case may be, you don't do it one time. You do it repeatedly because you're basically drilling through and breaking through unconscious programming. You have to keep doing it until you absorb that into your consciousness so that your whole consciousness can shift. So the stuff that I provided, put it on repeat, play it all night long, utilize your sleep state, and or whatever the case may be. Anytime you find you need to come back to that unified state of consciousness, put it on and listen to it. Utilize these things to support you in a way. It's not a one-time thing. Consciousness is not a one-time thing. It's an every-time thing. So utilize the things that are out there to support you, but do it constantly because you're overriding programming. So do it in order to support you to accelerate yourself so that you can accelerate and move through things a lot quicker. The higher the level of consciousness, the easier everything is. Everything is done through your consciousness. And so all your realities are aligned through your consciousness. And so this is a returning to our original state of consciousness and holding that consciousness fully so that everything in your life can align for you and be real. And it really does. Everything comes to you. The effort goes. 12D is effortless. You are working, you are doing things, you are fulfilling roles, but it takes no effort whatsoever. It is so easy. So you guys do it all. That's about the best thing that I can say. Is do it all. And there's tons of free stuff out there. Make sure it resonates. If it doesn't resonate, there's a reason. Sometimes with my stuff, people don't resonate with me for a few years because they're in a very different place. Just see what speaks to you. This is not a linear anything. This is how it feels. And that's with everything. Listen to how it feels. Go to that connection. Check and see. It usually will go against what your head says. That's the whole point. So just that will support some who are confused or maybe whatever the case may be. It is to really, really, really bring all these tools in, utilize them, apply them to your life. It's beyond important. you will receive a vibrational return relative to how invested you are. I promise you. It might be, it's vibrational. It comes through when you achieve the vibration. But remember that, because it's really important. This is a vibrational existence. It's not a linear one anymore. It's quantum. It's not linear. So linear works differently later. I love you guys.
All right. All right, everyone. Thank you for being here. And Lisa, thank you so much for your beauty, time, love, all. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you and have just enjoyed connecting with you so very much. And everyone, thank you for being here. And I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to seeing you all next week for our next live show. Have a wonderful evening. Namaste. Thank you for joining us on the Soulscape.tv show. Go to Soulscape.tv to access the many free gifts from our guests and for more great masterclasses and panelist discussions.